Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of It's Your Birthday. We got you a gift this week, and you guessed it, it's video games. I'm Kelly Workman. I'm joined by Christian Langton. Christian, what's up, big buddy?
You know, as some people may know, we skipped last week because I just had a nightmare run with.
Let's not say we skipped.
Out.
Let's say we did our due diligence, but things didn't work out the way we intended.
Yeah, it appears as if we skipped. But I will say we recorded for probably an hour and a half, and all of it's gone.
Yeah. Well, we recorded for 2 hours, but an hour of it disappeared, and then the work that it would take to make that worthwhile, I felt was not enough. So,
yeah.
So this week is a 5-hour-long episode to make up for last week. I'll be talking for 90-minute bursts as usual. And
yeah, we're gonna do what we do. Talk about some games. News might be a little it might be a little heavy on the back end of this episode because 2 weeks goes by really fast. But also,
it turns out
a lot of shit happens.
Yeah, we're wrapping up for that holiday season, so we're starting to get more and more announcements, and things are shooting out. Prices are starting to show up on certain things. Hint, wink, hint, something. Starts with an X, you'll never guess. And
it ends with an X too.
It also ends well, it ends with an X or an S depending.
Yeah, you're right.
Depending upon how large your wallet wants to be this holiday season, I guess.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. That's what's tripping me up is just like it was such a weird year for games in general and the world, but
you could say that. Yeah,
talking about at the beginning of all this, everybody assumed that games would keep chugging along, why not? And then they come out and they're like, okay, we're starting to delay things. I think from April or May all the way up until now, there's been this really slow trudge of news. Things have come out here and there, but the news that has come out has been pretty underwhelming. But understandably, things get in the way.
Yeah.
But it's wild that they've been able to pull so many tricks out of their hat. Everybody in the console space, in the PC space. It's good times.
Well, I think that might be by virtue of not being able to cover things as efficiently now, maybe by virtue of not being in the same room with other people and all this, that things have been able to slip out a little easier, or a little been able to hide a little easier, just because there's been maybe not a way to communicate as quickly and efficiently to get stuff out, because it seemed like both have happened. Leaks have came way more accurate and way more quickly than I remember, I guess, maybe, and then some other stuff has remained hidden a lot longer. I figured by now we would have gotten at least some leak on a Sony price that would have been something other than just a guess, but I don't know. They're keeping real tight-lipped over there. I figured too, by virtue of everyone being at their own home and working on stuff still, that maybe things would have just slipped out a little easier by virtue of Zoom meetings and stuff getting invaded and other crap like that. Just, there's a little bit easier access to get through to data. But maybe that's why leaks aren't happening, is now it's coming directly from their IPs at home. So maybe they're like, I'm not going to say shit because I don't want to get in trouble. You would think that with all this work from home stuff that things would have started to kind of slip through the cracks. But yeah, you're right. They haven't. And it's really impressive because you also look at the launch lineup for these new consoles, and they're the one launch lineup.
Yeah,
one console has one doesn't. So there's one has an existing library, one has a set of new games potentially.
Yeah, do you consider 3 games from the previous generation re-released on this one to be a launch title?
So we got GTA 5, we got Skyrim, and then what else we gonna get?
Voodoo Vents. We got.
I'd take it. I'd take that. I would take a remaster of that. Maybe not as a launch title, but I'd play one again.
Blinks the Time Cat's coming back. That's the prediction.
The Time Sweeper, I think you'll find. But yeah.
What a Time Cat, Time Sweeper.
He was, hey, look, he had a vacuum, much like our boy Luigi, and it sucked up time.
He was also a cat. So
just like a Luigi.
Listen, my title was that I said was probably on the whiteboard at some point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it probably was. Yeah. Well, give me some. What other names do you think you could have for Link's the Time Sweeper? The Time Rearranger.
It would be Zaps. Zaps the Portal Dweller.
Yeah. Tim the Time Changer.
Yeah, it would be Felix the
Carol.
The 5-second rule.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you currently working? Because if not, I got some companies you might be interested in working for.
Thank you. I'm here all week. No. What else? What else would a good?
We got Carl the Clock Cat, and then yeah, I just like that, and it's just a picture of a really high definition cat with just a clock on his neck, and he has no powers whatsoever.
Colin the Clock Stopper.
Yeah. Or actually,
that's a good one.
You know what? I watched that movie recently. Have you watched Clock Stoppers?
Dude, so I saw it in theaters when I was a kid, and I feel bad for whichever parent of mine had to sit through that business. Yeah,
dude, it's pretty bad. I watched it maybe 3 months ago, just due to I was looking through computer or movies I had on my hard drive, and I was like, Clock Stoppers, eh? And then I finished it though. It had what's
that a compliment?
No, it's more of a compliment to me for sitting through it. It's more of I'm proud of myself.
Okay.
For my own conviction. It's like how I watch what is it, Jersey Shore every year all the way through. It's I'm proud of myself for doing it, but it is time wasted either way you look at it.
Yeah.
Although Clockstoppers is a pretty accurate title, it does really feel like time stands still as you sit through that for 2.5 hours or so. It's pretty crazy.
So
I didn't think they were going to bring it together.
When I'm thinking about that movie, the only scene I can recall is I think it's the first time they stop time and they're all standing by the pool, or the girl and the kid are standing by the pool, and then you see the hummingbird's wings, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then that was it. That's all the memory bank saved, dude.
Well, the amount of time stopped is never really defined, because it's they age faster as time stops. They age quicker than normal, I think is what it is. But nothing else really is moving. It's all in slow motion, but a hummingbird is still moving technically, but it's still very slow, I guess. Time doesn't actually stop, but it does stop. I can't, it's hard to remember now, because it's basically the story starts out as kid wants a car, kid wants to get horny on this other kid.
Yeah.
And then dad's a scientist, and then somehow some black market CIA group or something wants the clock they want the stopping clocks. And then I don't know. It's and then there's that one guy from Third Rock from the Sun. He's the scientist, and he's really old, and I can't think of his name now. But he's there hanging out.
Yeah, this is with no sound. We can at least show the video.
Well, I can at least not get burned. I guess I didn't talk about that because that was last week's episode. But we got, for our episode about Austin, Texas, we got
so sad.
Copyright claimed because we played 8 seconds of a Tiptoe trailer along with another infringement from Justin to Kelly in a 14x14 pixel video. Apparently, the sound of them partying at a pool was enough to get that one hit. So no more sound on videos ever again, I guess. The thing I'm saying.
That's the rule. And then I joked last week about we're gonna put all the audio from the videos on a Patreon, so you can subscribe there to hear the real videos.
To hear the real 3-minute trailer. It's $1 a month, so you can get what trailer you could look up on YouTube already, because it's there.
Okay, I'm gonna restart this real quick because I just want to comment on the fact that, is he trying to pass off as a high schooler?
Yeah, he is actually. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he is.
Okay. Because this is definitely a 31-year-old man.
Yeah. It's one of those things where when you're younger, you look at it and go, man, I'll look really cool when I'm in. No, I think it's still high school, but his dad runs a class that looks very much like a college class, but I don't think it is. I think that was the big thing. One of the things I noted, at least watching it. And see, right there, he was trying to do some awful things to that poor child.
And so, like, oh, it's a butterfly. Oh, no, I know that there was.
That's a bee, brother.
Or a bee. Fuck, man.
There is the I think a hummingbird scene though, if I remember right. And look at that, they disrespect their black friend for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that? That eye scan technology is we have that now, and without that, basically an iPhone's face scan is pretty much that, and you don't have to have laser beams to do it. It turns out.
I will say it's a lot less cool.
This I don't remember. I don't remember that scene at all with the garbage truck. I don't think
was
that
that
happened.
French Stewart?
Yes, that's who I was thinking of from Third Rock that's Third Rock from the Sun right there. He was the villain.
Okay.
He's not really the villain. He's like the villains capture him and force him in a time prison to make the time watch a better time watch where it doesn't age people, but he's aging constantly while he's working on it. I think is what I remember.
Okay.
Man, this was only like 3 months ago, and I've already completely blocked this out as if I never saw it.
I'm seeing in the trailer they also do that effect where the time slows down and it does like a loop around them.
Yeah, yeah. That happens quite a bit, actually. And then he just goes and he opens his mouth and hangs out under that dog. Yeah, there is it's a bad film by Nickelodeon standards. There's much better ones.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the video game podcast.
Yeah, this is all about. It's always about video games and loosely about movies that are bad. I
forgot what got us talking about this. But that's totally fine. We don't have to recall this.
Blink's the Time Sweeper.
That's right. Yeah. Bonks the Time Boy.
Tim the Time Man Taylor from everyone's favorite show. Home Improvement. Home Sweeping.
Tim the TikTok clock.
Tim the tip-top time toddler. He's
what games you been playing?
I have played before this podcast today, I was playing Donut County for a little bit, which is an old game, but it was on sale. It may still be on sale on the Switch, but it was like $4, which is about the price I wanted to pay for that game, which I heard is very good, but I figured it was a short one, so I kind of waited on it for a bit. And it's cool. It's kind of like it's semi Katamari-esque, like you're sort of sucking up the world in a hole, but you're like, the story is pretty interesting. You're basically like a raccoon that has sucked up the entire town you live in by virtue of anytime somebody orders a donut, you go suck their house and shit up, I guess. I don't know. Okay. I haven't quite figured out the reasoning why the raccoon does this. But he's like leveling up, and when he gets to level 10, he gets a drone, and the game sort of starts whenever the drone's broken, and then you find everyone in town underground, and they're all blaming this raccoon, and he's saying it wasn't him, as much as he's sort of insinuating, like, they're upset. He thinks he's doing them all a favor, but they're upset at him, but he also is not admitting that he's the one doing this. And I think the overarching thing is you're trying to find this dog's son that he got put in a hot air balloon and sent off while he was sucking up the town. You like suck up a campfire, and then you put it under the hot air balloon, and it blows it up into the sky, and his son drifts away. So everybody's trying to recount where they saw his son, as you then go into that premonition and sort of, because everyone explains that a hole showed up and they lost everything in their house, and it all got sucked up, and then you're playing as the hole. I don't know. It's really weird, but it has like a lot more narrative than a Katamari game ever really had, I guess, because Katamari is sort of like your dad just is gonna respect you, and then so that's cool. The writing's pretty fun. I like the Katamari style game, so it's cool. It runs pretty well. I've only played the first like 4 levels, but it seems like the mechanics get pretty interesting, even though you're just a hole. But there's like one where you suck up a snake and then the snake tail pops back out, so then you're running around and you can like unscrew a sign by running the tail around it, and then you can like hit a button because the tail is just kind of moving as you move. So it's there seems like there's some neat mechanics in there. So I'm excited to actually play through that.
I saw that for a few bucks. I think when I looked at it, it may not be on sale by the time this goes up, but I think it has like 14, 15 hours left on sale. That's one thing I noticed, is that the eShop will now show you when sales will end.
Days remaining. I noticed that as well. I'm very happy to see that, because it's hard. It was annoying to have to go into every single game and look. So that on the front screen is pertinent information. It's good to have.
Yeah, they also updated it with some Mario visuals, which was pretty
cool. The
cool.
loading screen's like Mario 64 now, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's like a red background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who knew they would actually touch the eShop? Because it's been 3 years.
I don't know. I have no idea. I guess on that front too, I did play, because I'm trying to get them damn pins, so I played Mario Kart Tour on the iPhone again.
It's no Diddy Kong Racing. If they did a Diddy Kong Racing on the mobile,
it's barely a racing game. It's the most frustrating thing I've ever played. Because the one thing about Mario Kart is it is a kid's game, but you do still want precision out of your controls. And oftentimes, kind of no matter where you drift, it sort of just decides that you're going to either still drift into a thing, even if you very obviously pulled off the screen and start kind of swiping the other direction. It just kind of still goes this way. And then by virtue of you tapping back down to kind of swipe, you just use your item unnecessarily, which is annoying as well. You can't really fall off most of the courses, at least from the beginning, but the later ones you start to, which is another layer of frustration. I don't know if this was like an item in the game, but towards the end of one race, I got hit with, no joke, 5 blue shells in 10 seconds. Like, it was I just got pelted with 5 of them in a row right before the finish line, and ended up with second as of whatever nuclear weapon these people had, or one person had. I don't know, because the items are not all one-to-one.
So wait, was that one of the multiplayer things, or was that one of the multiplayer?
Well, that's hard to tell. Yeah, I don't know, because I was just doing the circuit tours, and it's all set up like it is a multiplayer game, but I couldn't really tell you if it is.
It obviously isn't. It obviously isn't.
And I don't think that they're ghosts.
Everybody loads in like that, yeah.
Either. It's really weird. And then but the thing that makes it compelling is, like, you see Japanese names in there and you go, maybe this is real, because we shouldn't get those in America if not.
Yeah.
So that's already a bit strange.
And that country's usually the ones whooping ass at Mario Kart.
Yeah,
Online.
that's really when I started to question it. I was like, there's 3 Japanese names in here and I beat every one of them. What's going on? This isn't something's not right.
Fucked up. But I will say, like, the biggest abomination of that game, I think it's like fun in spurts. It's a little mobile game, whatever, harmless. Yeah. But I guess 2 things.
Give me controller support, and I'll stop bitching mostly. Like, the other stuff is annoying.
It where you can tilt the phone the other way and play it in like a landscape mode. If they at least did that, I guess.
What am I gonna buy, like a Wiimote steering wheel and put it around my phone? Come on, dog.
Yeah, why not? Why not,
dude? Because that's disgusting. Touch controls are terrible. They always have been terrible. There's no really way to make them good other than to not have them and let you use controllers. Like, if you're in a pinch, I get it. If you're not, if you're sitting at home, or if I was on my iPad, dude, if I could play that on my iPad with a controller, that would be kind of fine. Like, I would not be totally upset with that game. But it's the fact that it's just, like, really unresponsive for what's happening. And,
my 2 problems with that game are... So the way the scoring system works is that you get stars for each, like, there's like 5 tiers of points.
Yeah,
so
I've also won every race. I've never gotten a 5-star rating.
I've
won every single race in that game. I've gotten first place, and I've never gotten 5 stars.
what multiplies your score in that game is your driver that you're using, which is a random driver that's pulled from like a booster. Like you either get them as purchases with gold, but that's like the shit tier characters nobody cares about, or you pay gems to like shoot a pipe up that is essentially a gacha game.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that like even if it's a gacha game, like Fire Emblem Heroes has some PvP for the people who are like spending thousands of dollars on that game, but that game is primarily single player. And Mario Kart positions it to where it's like, okay, yeah, you have these races that you're doing that's like pseudo multiplayer. You're not really racing against people, but it's like their uploaded avatars of like their last racer on this course, whatever it is.
Maybe.
But they incentivize you to get the skins because you're racing with people with badass skins and like cars. But then the point system is such to where if you have generic basic characters, your multiplier is so low that no matter how good you do in the race, no matter how many tricks or items you use, you are constantly put at a disadvantage point-wise, which puts you behind on getting rewards, which forces you into getting that premium currency. It's just like a very scummy way of doing it.
Yeah, it's that, and then I think it by virtue it forces you to go back and play the ones again to get your higher score once you've either spent money or spent way too much time acquiring a vehicle or something like that. I also found too, like I got some character that I think it was like one of Bowser's kids, maybe Larry, and it was like the power up in it was like I do a boost ring, but everyone can use the boost ring or something. So it's like, well, I don't ever want to use this guy because I just give everybody an advantage as well as myself. Like, why would I want to do that? Like, that's not a competitive race. That's me helping everyone. Why would I ever want to do that? And then
it's
well, and that's the egregious thing is like it's not even every race. It's like each race it shifts on what item will give you bonus points, and it's like tiered. It's like this one will give you 2 times, this one will give you 1.5, or this one's just base or whatever. But every race that fluctuates, incentivizing you to have more items. So every race you are maximizing that. So even if you spend a ton of money to get like a thing that you really wanted, it still doesn't mean that that's gonna do jack shit in any of the races point wise. Because I don't think it actually affects like your actual statistics of your car as far as I can tell. I really don't know. Like I don't know. I don't really know enough about the game. I played it very limitedly now, but
there is that angle to it because I think the cars still have hidden stats, but it is primarily like the speed you're going is the CCs of that like cup. But
yeah, I'm gonna pull it up and just see because I'm curious now.
The scoring system is like the biggest problem, but my second like biggest hang up, which is arguably worse than the first, is that they paywalled Waluigi. So
is that what it is?
I'm gonna say fuck that game. I can't
is that what gets you fired up?
That's my fucking boy in every goddamn game. That's my fucking boy. I play him in Mario Party. I play him in Mario Kart. I play him in I play him in every Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, anything he's available in.
Wow, this
play that character.
This is crazy. I was just looking at the like value packs or whatever that they have here. Because it's like 5 gems or 45 gems to do 10 pumps on the old pipe to get items out of. But 45 gems is equates to $20 in this 8-bit star pack. So 10 items is effectively $20. Or you can pay what is this, $4.99 per month? Oh, first-time users can get a 2-week free trial. Maybe I'll do that while I'm pumping through this stupid shit.
Dude, I'm calling the fucking cops. Calling the cops right now, dude.
Look, man, I want those pins, and I have to play this stupid thing to get it.
That's the other thing. Those Super Mario Kart skins or characters that they have, they look fucking cool. But I am not going to go through the rigmarole of trying to unlock those characters. There was I forget if it was like on a podcast I was listening to, like the Bombcast or something, or if it was on some Facebook group. But there was a guy who was talking about how he spent like $100 trying to get Dixie Kong out of a fucking pipe.
Jesus
Christ. Like, fuck that shit, dude. Fuck that shit. Like, what the? I get it. She's never been available in a Mario Kart game. That's cool as fuck. I also want to race as Wario with a cowboy hat, but come the fuck on. I am not going to spend the money on that shit.
It's hard for me to justify any of this when it controls so poorly to me. Like I like, and maybe you know, maybe when I dip in next time I'll try the motion control stuff. I've never been a fan of that, but especially when controllers exist and have existed for quite a while now. It's just
I
little infuriating.
I think buttons are the preferred way to play games. It has been like that.
Dude, there's not buttons still work good. They still work well. If
I don't trust my fingers.
Having just played,
don't.
You know, Tony Hawk for some 20 some odd hours, I'll tell you what, buttons work well, and you can use them quickly and effectively. Same with a goddamn joystick. It works, you know. Actually, I saw some dude do like 102 million combo using a fucking keyboard, and those seem to work. So like,
yeah.
And you can put Bluetooth controllers to phones, so just put it in. It's like, there's no, I get the idea of like, well, that's an unfair advantage, but if you're pretending that I'm racing online people anyway, who cares what I'm doing? Like, you're not, there's no, you don't need the facade up if you're going to make a worse playing game. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they really haven't been knocking it out of the park with the mobile stuff. I mean, I liked Pocket Camp decently. That was a good distraction. I'm not a big Fire Emblem guy, so I didn't give a fuck about Heroes. Mario Run is what it is. I was never going to buy that game.
No, I didn't care for it.
I just remember it makes me think of like back in like 2015, 2016 when they were talking about them making like mobile games. And then everybody was like, oh, like their next console, they're not going to make one. They're going to get into the phone market. Like Nintendo is like bowing out of consoles. It was like, no. And I'm so happy that I can say that I was on the right side when all that shit was happening.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I just pulled up a car. Ironically, this car is called the Birthday Girl. I don't quite know how I got it, but I have this car, so I'll read off how it works. Every car and item levels up on its own, so that's important to note. I guess it has its own level that increases. There are no statistics that it shows, but its special skill is increases dash panel boost time and points earned for using one. And then its favored courses, where you get 2 times the boost on Choco Island, Circuit Tour, and Daisy Hills, and then a 1.5 boost on these. What is that? 8 levels. And then by leveling up your boost skill power, you then get 1.15 to all boost points earned, and then 5 times bonus points boost with the car here. So, oh my god, dude, there's a lot of cars in this game. Holy shit.
Well, dude, and like I said, like the incentivizing of like doing the pipe to get all the good shit.
Just put this on there and let me play with that. Why not? Like, is there limitations to how much money you can milk out of someone on the Switch or what?
By the way, thanks 8X Cage Game for the gameplay video.
Thank you, Doc, for this gameplay video here.
Thank you for doing it so we didn't have to. But yeah, man.
Yeah, look at this motherfucker. He gets 3 items whenever he uses an item box. What's that?
Yeah, it's because he has the Rosalina with it's like Luau Rosalina that he probably busted out of like 20 pipes to get or something.
I see. I just love the idea of busting through pipes. Like, that's real fun for me to hear.
But I will say I wish it was cooler. I think if the monetization and like the like point system wasn't so egregious, man, if it wasn't as like in your face. The thing I like is like when a game rewards your time that you put into it, but like the money option is there, like a Warframe, right? So
that's ideal, generally. Or
like I don't care if I have to grind something out, but in this game you literally cannot earn enough if you are at a disadvantage to warrant grinding for like months to get decent characters and boosters and stuff. It's just.
And everything's time sensitive. So like there's like you can only use X amount of pipes anyway, even if you were to buy it, and then those run out, and then you have to get back to playing the game, I guess. But that's the thing that is like continually the most annoying argument, is that it's like all this discussion is not even playing the game. It's like I could spend all this money or grind out this thing, but none of that is like I don't know. None of the, I don't. I'm like missing the part where you're like the game is there. It's like, okay, well you can grind out all this stuff if you want this one item to play this game slightly better.
Yeah.
But at that point, why are you playing the game if it takes all this to make it fun? I guess I
will say,
or
like,
this financial side of it.
When the game came out, like, you know, when I take a smoke break at work, it's easy to, like, you know, just one hand play this game. And I got kind of good with the controls. They're not great. They're never great. And whenever you fuck up, it's hardly ever your fault.
Yeah. And that's frustrating. I want it to be my fault.
It's
yeah,
just
dude,
like
this guy's getting
little...
11,000 points. I've never seen that many points in my entire life. I get like 5 maybe. I get like a third of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's our Mario Kart Tour bitch off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'll say this in the wheelhouse of mobile games. There is a augmented reality geo-based Witcher game coming to the iOS very soon.
That's right. That's right.
That is not done by CD Projekt specifically. It's obviously published by them, but Poco Games, I believe, is the name of it. They developed Spoko Games. Sorry, they developed a few other mobile things, but they are putting this out. It's not out quite yet, but I think it's on the way here pretty soon. I know they're giving CD Projekt some heat about this coming out before Cyberpunk, but it's not made. I think it's made by a 30-person team at Spoko, so it's not made by CD Projekt, so that's a big thing to note. I guess also CD Projekt came out and said specifically they have no intentions of delaying Cyberpunk any longer, I guess, because people have been bitching that they will. So they came out to clarify that they didn't have any plans to do that. So that's on the way. This seems cool though. Like, I was never huge on Pokemon Go, but I always like the idea of Pokemon Go. This one's like pretty interesting because there's like a quest system, so you like talk to NPCs in augmented reality and then go do things for them and hunt tracks and other stuff. So it seems like
you're you're not like Geralt.
You're a Witcher. Yeah. Which seems cool. Like, this seems neat. Like, I could get behind this as much as I'm not, again, a huge fan of like Pokemon and that system and all that. But I'm always all for an excuse to leave the house for, exercise reason or game exercise combo.
I mean, I had a friend that was really into, I think it was like Egress or Ingress or something like that. It was like
Egress, yeah. Or
you
might. I can't remember. You might be right though. One of those is right. So
yeah.
Ingress.
But that was the Niantic's like first big thing, and that was like a few years before Pokemon Go. And I thought he was insane what he was talking about. I was like, what the fuck are you? There's stuff around us. What the fuck are you talking about? And he'd like show me on his phone, and it looked like nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got this. You have Minecraft Earth that I played. Like, I'm in the beta for that. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, that one didn't quite catch me much, I guess. But I didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't had my hands on it, but
I will say this almost looks like Blades too. Like, it has that Elder Scrolls Blades thing kind of going on.
Yeah, I do get that vibe for sure.
Blades also is ass. I'll just put that out there.
Did that come out to the Switch or no?
Yeah, it did. It's on Switch, and it sucks on Switch too. It sucks everywhere it is. That game fucking sucks.
I remember it not being fun. I remember with the QuakeCon that year, that was like the only thing that you didn't have to stand for like 5 hours in line to play was Elder Scrolls Blades.
Yeah, and, get it.
And it seemed like they didn't have people rushing to that booth either because they were handing out the thing that they would give you to play it in droves. I think they gave me 4 of the things for playing it once. Like, whatever it was. Like a pop socket or something with like the logo or Skyrim logo on it or some shit.
Who fucking cares? But this looks cool.
Yeah. This seems neat though. Like I'll give this a try. I'll try to get it on the iPad so I can at least maybe record a little bit of it. And kind of show it off when it comes out. I don't know if they gave an actual date, but I know they said relatively soon here. So
I say,
you want to bitch about Windbound again?
Game. Yeah, I want to hear you bitch about this game again because
second time.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is I guess I'll talk about this game and then Craftopia because it's another sort of. They've been hit with the same sort of narrative, I guess, behind both of them. But either way, so this is Windbound, and it is a survival adventure roguelike third person crafting game. It is very, again, it is, its biggest comparison is Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that's purely based on aesthetic, and then some animations look completely ripped out of that game. But in that, and a lot of people that were talking about it, I saw on like Facebook advertisements for this game. I'd kind of look through the comments and then Steam forums, other shit. But everything was like, "Oh, this is a Zelda ripoff. This is, you know, stolen from that game. They you know, ripped off Breath of the Wild. Blah 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 blah." I mean, you can see with the glider there, and you know, there's a lot of similarities to make aesthetically, but that's pretty much exactly where that stops. It's like, there's no NPCs, there's no towns, there's no villages, there's no quests, there's no dialogue really whatsoever. There's no like items in chests, there's no like items you find that have unique abilities really or special circumstance. It's literally like, it's a 5-stage game effectively. With it being a roguelike, I feel like it's not so much of a spoiler, but the game would maybe make it feel like that is a spoiler, because it's like, oh, you're giving the length of the game or whatever, but there's no, I don't know if I said that, but there's no boss fights either. So it's like, there's 5 stages that you go through.
That's one thing I hear, is that it's got that like staged gameplay where you're like on different islands, but it also is like the combat, the survival, like the sea travel, all of it, the survival are like almost like facades of like actual gameplay. Like it's all stitched together.
Yeah, it's poorly implemented, and it seems unnecessary. Like the roguelike side of it, I think, is probably the most unnecessary part of it, because it's like there's like no, like I said, there's no like progression really. Like you're getting like you'll eventually be able to make better weapons, but the combat itself is sucked down to a single jab move, and then you eventually get there's like a slingshot thing, but once you get the bow, that sort of replaces the slingshot. Though you can craft like, I think, a poison bomb thing that you can throw out of it. But once you get the bow, the combat is completely trivialized, because you can just hit them in the head with a bow a couple times and that's it. But I didn't find that until like my third out of 5th stage. So with only like 2 to go after that, it was like, okay, well, this is kind of a little too late to be unraveling this. And then again, the combat is, you have one jab, you have a dodge, but you're locked into that jab animation, so using the dodge is pretty unnecessary, because the times you would really need to use it, you're probably locked into that jab animation, or vice versa. So it's like pretty unintuitive and unenjoyable. Like even when you're doing well with the combat, it doesn't feel very good to be doing, because you only get the one hit anyway. So that part sucks.
With the combat, because one hang up I have with Breath of the Wild, and this is gonna sound wild for some people to hear this, but I feel like sometimes the combat is like completely avoidable in that game, and in most situations, because of the durability of weapons and the low incentivized like rewards you get from fighting in Breath of the Wild, that the combat is like pushed to the side. Like the only time you're like kind of forced into combat are boss fights and the shrines. Yeah. Because like I don't know, at some point, like I just stopped in Breath of the Wild. I just stopped fighting things, because it while you do get if you're getting into the crafting and you're getting into the upgrading the armor and stuff, then yeah, you got to kill mobs to get all those pieces. I'm not going to say I don't understand that, but at a point when you're just like, okay, I want to get all the shrines, I want to do the DLC, I want to beat the final boss. Yeah. At some point you just kind of stop doing the combat. In this game, is the combat like more of a, is it avoidable like it is in Breath of the Wild, or is there parts where it kind of forces you into it? Oh yeah, no, 100%. No, because there's no like, I mean, yes, if you wanted a specific item for sure, but outside of eating, like once your boat is upgraded enough to continue sailing, like you can just go to those 3 islands on each island, and as long as you have like food of some kind, you just run to the beacon, set it off, run back to the boat, go to the next one, do that 2 times or 3 times in total, hit the portal, go to the next thing, and you're out. So there's like no
there's no real need to engage in the combat, and I found unless I absolutely needed something from one of them, and that's the thing too, is your storage overall is super limited. Like those two baskets that are on my boat, they hold 3 items each, so it's like, okay, well that's nothing really. You can get a bag, I think, that holds 18 items in addition to the 7 hold slots you have, so there's a good bit there. And then that other thing on the left hand side of the ship, it looks like a triangle thing, that holds another bag. I think when they patched it maybe a day or two ago, they added some change to the inventory stuff that may make it better, because it was pretty bad to start with. And that's the thing too, like if that pontoon on that left side is to get damaged enough, then I lose everything on that side of the boat. Like it's all just gone. And sometimes like stuff just pops out of the water, or like the way that the wave is shaped is not conducive to you sailing over it, but you may not really tell until it's too late, and then it kind of whips your boat around a bit. So it's just like, I don't know, like I guess that's what I was saying, the roguelike portion of this game is just bad because like once you, in the story mode, if you die, you go back to the you don't lose any story progression, but the chapter you're on just resets, and then they procedurally generate the island set that you're on. In the roguelike mode, you lose everything on your boat and everything on your inventory except for the 7 hold slots you do, and then all the story progresses back to the beginning, and so you start completely over. Just whatever you're holding stays.
That sounds like a fucking nightmare.
It is, because there's not really a story there to begin with, so it's like pretty frustrating that there's even like well, the thing is too, is like certain items that you make are only used to collect, like there's like an axe that you make, but it only collects wood from one type of tree. Like it doesn't speed up any collection otherwise. And then there's like a hammer, so that thing will only collect stone of certain kinds. And there's like, most islands only have like maybe 5 pieces or whatever on it. So if you lost your whole boat, it's going to take like another probably hour or 2 to really get back to the boat that you had previously, or even longer maybe, depending upon what is on the islands you've gotten. And it's just like, it slows everything down even further. Like and it doesn't feel like when the time I guess I died, it didn't feel justified. It was like the creature glitched or whatever. And like the fall distance you have is like so small. Like if you fall farther than like the height of your character, you're going to take damage. And that's another thing, because unlike Breath of the Wild, you can't like climb walls or anything. So it's like you have to be risking a jump, which doesn't feel all that great to be jumping either. Like the movement overall is like a bit too stiff, in addition to like the combat being super stiff. And then the sailing is like really stiff in some areas and way too loose in other ones. And then like once you've progressed to where you build a sail, you can't row your boat anymore. So if the wind is blowing against you, then you're stopped dead in the water. So you have to either wait for the wind to come into your favor, or you have to go a completely different direction, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But the islands themselves are not really exciting. They're all kind of the same thing over and over again, with like maybe one different major creature, and then all the small ones are the same, and then the resources are all really similar, because there's like maybe 3 biomes I think in total, and there's no caves, like I said, or dungeons, or like these hut things are the most interesting thing I found on any given island. And there's like a story quip, and then that's it. So there's like nothing really, you're not really exploring, so that part of the game is gone. It's not really telling a story when you get to those things, so that part of the game is gone. The roguelike side is like, again, you're not like finding really interesting or powerful boat parts or new weapons, and you're not getting like buffs to your attacks or skills, and you're not finding
it just seems like an odd choice for this type of
game. It does, yeah. And again, the idea itself is not bad. Like there could be a cool game design there, but it's like even in the world between, I guess we'll call it the portal or whatever, there's a part where you can spend these shards that you find, and that'll give you like an overall upgrade, but that may only give you an upgrade to your next run. It won't give you anything for the run you're currently on. So that seems like pointless. Also, I guess, because like in some other games, like, you know, like Dead Cells or whatever, if you spend a currency, like you get that item immediately, and then you get that item going forward, like you can find it again. This one is just like, oh, the next time you start, your spear won't break. And it's like, okay, great. I mean, that's helpful, but give me that now then. Like, there's only 5 stages of this fucking game anyway, so why don't you just give it to me? And then, and again, you only have one of 2 choices that I think are randomized between those worlds anyway, and you can only pick one, so it's like, you're spending this like large amount of your currency for one thing that you may not even get to see, and if you decide not to play the game again like I have after I finished it, then that stuff never mattered. And so like that part's like bad, like just the idea of it. The sailing again doesn't feel very good, the combat's not engaging, there's no real reason to even engage with it. The crafting stuff is like, you can't really decorate your boat in any fashion. Like everything has a set area that each item locks into. So it's like I can put my basket on that one front thing, or I could put a campfire there, or I could put this or whatever. So even that is like, even the little creativity you would have is taken out of it. So that's not really fun either. And again, like the best way I've explained this to people that have asked, or in the review I made on Steam, was like, if you look at the achievements of the game, like, I think that is the most telling part of how the game wants to be played, which I'll pull those up on my own end now. But yeah, it's like, have craft one of each food recipe, craft one of each boat part, finish the game without eating any meat, finish the game without eating anything but meat, finish the game without crafting any bags or containers, finish the game using only melee weapons. Visit 100 islands, travel 100 kilometers, get 2 seconds of airtime, build a boat with 3 decks, which is like really would be super easy to do. Fill your inventory with flowers, which I don't even know if that's why that's an achievement. Have 7 spears in your inventory. Again, another just unnecessary, non-challenging thing to just put in there.
Like up front, it doesn't. It tells you that there's not a whole lot going on. Like
yeah, if I'd have looked at the achievements first, I probably would have not bought in this game. But again, I'm glad I did, because I had several people in the review just say like, "Oh, thank you for not having." I guess that's the biggest thing is, if this was an early access game, great. This is a cool foundation. They could learn a lot from the community. There could be a lot of feedback and other stuff like that. But as a $30 finished title on all major platforms, PS4, Switch, Xbox, PC, all that. It doesn't seem like we're ever going to get a big update to this game, and and Stadia. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it came out on Stadia, so they seem to be happy with it.
I'm glad you told me. Holy shit!
Yeah, so you got a game you can look forward to on the Stadia.
Sweet, thank you.
So yeah, it's like I don't think we'll ever get another better game out of this. It just seems like that was the game.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a framework that they just like didn't really build on. But I mean, I imagine it's a small team, so like, kudos to them, like trying to go for the ambition of it. But I think like if they had maybe stuck with it a little longer, like they could have stuck a landing on it.
I think it's like I said, I think this really should have been half the price in early access, and given. Yeah. Like, if we would have got our hands on it to give feedback, like, ahead of time, this could be a way better game. Like, a way better game. Because it's, like, the foundation is totally there. And, like, the idea of exploration on the ocean, super cool. Yeah, there's, like, a lot to like here. The enemy design is all really memorable. It runs really well, I'll say that. Yeah, but other than that, it's like, oh, man, this guy spent 20 hours in this game. How do you do that? Sorry, I just like, I'm like looking at the reviews too, but this guy's got 30 hours in this game. This is 30 hours. I finished this game in 8 hours, and I think I could have done it even faster than that. I could if I really wanted to speedrun this game, I bet I could do it in maybe 2 hours. Like, the building the boat thing would be the hardest, but after that, I bet I could finish it in maybe an hour and a half. Like,
yeah.
It's there's not a game here really. Like it's so unfortunate.
Yeah,
so we'll move on. I've talked at length about this game a million times now. So
yeah, I take it you done. Just don't like the game, and we'll never have to talk
well,
about it.
I want to like it. Is
again.
The thing is like I want a nice exploration boat single player game, because I like Sea of Thieves a lot, but it requires a party and it requires a lot more. I mean, you can play that game solo for sure, but it's you know, just
Not
that idea
designed
of
for
like
that,
Wind Waker or
100%.
something that's like, or even Raft is a pretty good example. Subnautica is pretty good. It's a little different, but the idea is there. And I love roguelikes and all that. So yeah.
I'm excited to hear you talk about this one real quick.
Well, we've got a little bit of a game for this one for you, bud.
Should we take a quick little break, come back, talk about the last few games, and then get into news?
Yeah, let's go ahead, because this is gonna be. I have a little segment planned for this one, so we'll take a break and then get into it.
All right, awesome.
Right,
We're back,
everybody,
ladies and gentlemen.
welcome back.
Back.
So I've devised a bit of a game show for Christian here. I'm gonna
Okay.
quickly talk about this game. I say quickly by my standards, but I'm gonna talk about it quickly, and then I'll sort of explain the game after that. But
And this is Craftopia.
yeah, this is Craftopia. So this is another Zelda-esque game. As you can see, it is very inspired by Breath of the Wild. Like very much inspired by it. To like an unsettling degree in some cases, and not in others. It is I guess it's another survival game. It's a more crafting based for sure. You're sort of I love this. I'm a man, woman, unknown, or unapplicable. But yeah, it's like okay, so I guess to explain it, it's like it's a crafting game, but you're set on an island, and then that's sort of the tutorial island, but you can kind of set your base up there, and then you open up a portal to different islands, and you can kind of jump. There seems like there's a lot of them. Like I don't know if that caps at some point, but it seemed like a shit ton from the map that I saw, because I've definitely played a good, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 hours after this video here specifically, because I wasn't sure if I was going to hold on to it, and I'm still not sure that I should have. But it is interesting to say the least. It's like, it has sort of like an Age of Empires twist to it a little bit, because you're kind of progressing through ages of technology as well, like when you're building stuff.
Okay.
It's like you'll if you craft a certain amount of things to a point, you'll then go to the next echelon of stuff. Like you'll kind of go to, it's like you start on the Stone Age, then you go to Industrial Age, and then there's so on and so forth after that. I'm not quite sure still really what the narrative overall is, but you can also build so you're building like crafting stuff, I guess, like a blacksmith, a smithing thing, a fillet machine that will take fish and fix those up and whatever. But then you get like weirder ones, like there's like a drone that will cut trees down, then there's like a generator, then you can make like a motorcycle and a hoverboard and an airplane and a tank and like all kinds of wild shit at a point. So it's like pretty open-ended, I think, as to what you can make and like what you're gonna do with this game eventually. There's also like a several different skill trees with like magic and two-handed weapons and bow and arrow and all this stuff. And then
What's up with the shadows?
they're a little wild. This game has got a lot of bugs and other stuff in it. Like the animation stuff is not very smooth. I'll note here, like,
Yeah.
you know, in most crafting games,
the tree.
well, yeah, but look what the missions are. Punch a rock 5 times. So they're not bullshitting you. That is what you want. It wants you to do. It's not like other ones where it's like, hey, grab 5 wood. It's like, hey, punch this rock, idiot. You're going to get the wood out of it. So, yeah, it's like somewhat diverse or somewhat literal with some of the stuff you're doing. There is a part where it's like build a campfire and stand on it to find out what danger really means, is like the mission verbatim what it says.
Yeah.
There's another one that's
I
like,
I understand that's part of the game that we're gonna play here soon.
yeah, that's a little bit of it, because the localization is done some by human, other by machine. And some of the localization is what has kept me in this game, because it is buck fucking wild. Like some of it is just so bananas that I can't. And you'll see some of it. The game I've devised is I've pulled up an assortment of items. I'm going to read you the description and have you try and tell me what you think the item is.
Okay,
but
I'm not watching the footage right now, so
yeah, so we'll get into that here in just a moment. But yeah, I don't know what the overall thing is. There's a lot of bugs and other issues. This was a fun one. Here you get resolution, FPS, motion blur, anti-aliasing, or cloth simulation. And if you get that option, you either get everyone is shaking, or the other option is no one is shaking. And that's the cloth simulation option. So that's, up to you what that might mean. But you think you get it. And yeah, so there's a lot of bugs. Like there's some weird thing with like iron where I've produced like 500 iron and I couldn't I picked it all up, but it just was gone. Like there nothing in my inventory. A lot of items you place on the ground, like a drying rack or something, will just fall straight over. And so you can use it, but it's just not standing up for whatever reason. Any monster in the world can come just knock shit over or break it or catch on fire and just run around in circles. So that's really weird.
The animation is like swinging a baseball bat.
Yeah, and they touched up the animation a little bit. They did patch it once already, and they said like the hit detection with the gathering stuff is a little better now. So, and I guess in their defense, it seems like it is a little bit better. I believe it's either a Chinese or Korean run studio, which accounts for the localization stuff, and I think a little bit of the design features, because the combat eventually almost comes out like Black Desert a little bit, where it's like there's a bunch of enemies you're fighting at once, kind of.
Yeah.
And then the combat is like hit or miss. The AI is all over the place. Like there's so many times I've been to an encampment of creatures and some are just running at a wall into a tree or like all over the place. Some will come right at you. Some will run away. There's dungeons in the game. I've been to 2 of them. The boss was the same at the end of both. There's a lot of skills and stuff that still aren't in the game. There's a mission-based skill thing that's still not in there. I will give them credit because it is hella ambitious. Like whatever they're trying to put together here, seems like it's one of those things where it's either going to be like one of the coolest games you've ever played in like 2 years, or it's going to be abandoned completely just because it's so buck wild. Player count's been pretty decent though. There's like some 15,000 or so online at any given time, so that's pretty good. So it seems like they're at least making some money to make more of it.
Ooh, there we go. There's the Zelda influence.
Yeah, I mean, look at the. I mean, you even see the detailing on it. Like the image on top looks very Breath of the Wild. The combat is sort of a 3-swing thing. You can jump and do that. You can unlock a skill to where you can slow motion jump and shoot your bow and all that. So if they don't get sued, maybe they'll be good to go. Because some of this stuff, like I mean, if you even look at the menus and shit, is like pretty much right on there. Again, more so than Windbound. Like if people were upset about Windbound, this one will really get them going, because this is like 100% in that wheelhouse. Even some of the enemy design a little bit. Like these animals look like you could have pulled them right out of that game. So yeah, it's interesting. I keep playing it, and I keep kind of finding more and more issues with it as I go along. So I don't know how much I'll stick with it, but I am compelled to keep going for some reason. Like I don't know if that's just the nature of like Chinese game design, where it sort of like really wants to get its hooks in you somehow, no matter what, and keep you going. But even that, like his little jaw tweaks and stuff whenever he yells. So like there's some animation work done that's really cool, but then you just see him like fly through the air. Here I think I died on purpose because I hadn't died yet, so I wasn't sure what that did. But you lose like 10% of your currency, but that's it. And then he buffs up and does cool shit like this. And you're like, okay, well I'm kind of in. Like there's obviously someone here doing some work. Like there's something happening. Yeah. I just don't know like when it ends. And if you're gonna pick it up, I would say to people, like, definitely watch gameplay of it. The trailer makes this game look way more polished than it is, for sure. Also, it's interesting with these NPCs is they all have one paragraph that they're saying. Like, not like each one you talk to gives another line of an overall paragraph. So it's like really weird. You have to talk to every single one of them to finish off whatever it's trying to tell you. And you can kill them and they drop eggs, and they're NPC eggs. So there's specific eggs that have that are a requirement for a different recipe of some kind.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, it's just super weird. I don't know. It's really strange. I'm like captivated by it.
Yeah, I see a good amount of potential in this. Like, I don't know if you ever played like Arcade.
A little bit, very little bit, but yeah.
Like, I think Arcade would have done a lot better if it had like some of the like more crafting focused components. Like, I know that crafting and all that was like a big late game thing, but it's also very MMO crafting.
Yeah.
And not like the world crafting stuff. I think that, I don't know, this does have potential. It's definitely, we talked about it during our botched recording last week, but I think like 3 years after Breath of the Wild's release, and we're starting to see like these games that
are invoking the spirit of it, at least, or trying to.
Yeah. They either like rip it off like pretty explicitly, or they take some good elements from it.
Yeah.
This seems like a good middle ground. Like, I don't know, because the menus, the character design, the graphics, it's very Breath of the Wild, but then, you know, you're not doing like all this crafting stuff in it. The combat seems a little more MMO-esque, like or
it does. Yeah, it's definitely more. Like I said, it feels a lot like Black Desert to me in the way that just like like there's a big spark every time you hit something, and then you're hitting like 3 or 4 enemies at a time or whatever, and then you have like a big there's like a there is one move that's like a downward slash thing, and then you'll just bounce off the enemy if you keep hitting it, so you can kind of pogo jump on them. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's super weird. And then there's like I use a skill that I thought was like a water element. Yeah, see, like this bear just comes and wrecks my shit again. But there was a thing I thought was to like use water skills, but all it does was summon a bucket of water in your inventory, and I was like, oh, I thought that was like a water element ability thing that I had. You can also like shield bash and stuff, then you can kind of run and charge them and hit them with the shield and all that. Like, if you could polish up this game, like, there is something really cool here. And the only other thing I worry about is I don't know how many assets start to, because I've been to only 3 islands so far, and a lot of enemies were the same. There was just like a different level of them. I will say at night skeletons come out. That's another thing that happens. But on the second island, I was fighting like giraffes and elephants and boars and wolves, and then there was like the same enemies I found on this one, like lizard people and some kind of weird what was the other thing? It was like some kind of like a troll-esque thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like I said, there's something really special here. I just hope they can polish it and capitalize on it, because it's neat. And I keep going back to it for some reason. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear more about it.
I'll update it as it goes through. But so as far as this game goes, so what I'm gonna do is I'm only going to read you the description of the item, and I want you to try and tell me what you think this item is, because there are so many buck wild descriptions that I couldn't not do this. So, okay. Here's the first one. If past overnight installed, the audience is coming. It is located in a sign that you have taken a step in the social life. Christian, what item do you think that is?
Say it one more time for me.
Sure. I can understand why you might need that.
Okay.
If past overnight installed, the audience is coming. It is located in a sign that you have taken a step in the social life. What do you think this item is?
Oh, the audience is coming really sticks out to me.
Yeah, that's a good indicator to some extent.
Installed at night.
If past overnight installed.
If past overnight installed? Yes. Like if it was installed previously?
I think that's what it's saying, yes.
If installed previously, people will come. Is it like a beacon?
No, it is not.
Okay, one more guess.
Yeah.
A bed?
You're getting closer, but it is not It's not that. You would find it at an inn, though. I'll give you that as well.
A bar. Alcohol?
You're close. It has alcohol on it. It is a guest table. So there is okay. There is like cheese and alcohol and stuff on it. So a bar, I'll give you. It is a round table, though.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Item number 2. Signpost indicating the presence of a dungeon. Highly a product of dowsing technology developed. It indicates what owners seek.
It's like a radar.
Yes.
Right?
It is a detector, but that is a radar, yes.
Okay.
That's good. Okay.
Ooh, wow, that was roundabout.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip out the first part of it because I think it gives it away, but this is the second part of it that is still in line with it. Observe the miracle of life and celebrate the joining of a new friend to your party. You can create new life.
A pregnant woman?
Well, no, you can't craft that.
Okay. Celebrate.
You're in the right wheelhouse, though. Yeah. To create new life, by blank, observe the miracle of life and celebrate the joining of a new friend to your party.
Incubator.
It is a breeding facility, so I'll give you that. That is you're close.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. You can create new life by mating 2 animals, and I felt that was like a little bit of a dead giveaway, but the other half is like a bit wild, so I figured we'll start there. This is an item. It starts off with the name of the item, so I'm going to skip that, and then I'll give you. It is blank. Iron and steel are different, so be careful. This is a description of a tool.
Iron and steel are different. Is it? So it's got to be like a pickaxe, right?
Yes, it is an iron pickaxe.
Okay. But they are different.
Iron pickaxe, iron and steel are different, so be careful.
Perfect.
Okay, another item, another tool. Silver is said to fight off evil. So many monsters dislike it. It is made into an alloy. It can become quite sturdy.
Sword.
No.
A steel sword.
No. If you get the item right, I'm not gonna worry about the stuff it's made out of, although it does say silver in there. It does involve silver, yes.
Oh fuck. Is it a weapon?
It can be used as one, but it is not one inherently.
An arrow?
No.
A bucket?
Silver is said to fight off evil. So many monsters dislike it. If made into an alloy, it can become quite sturdy.
Dude, it's not silver ore, is it? It's not like ore?
Mm-mm. It is a tool again.
Fuck. But monsters despise it. The only thing I can think of is like a steak or like a...
It is a silver pickaxe. So...
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was that in the other description? Because
I don't know.
Different.
Well,
that's different than iron and steel.
Well, they're different, and this is why. This one is not. I'm just gonna read you this one. This one's not one you have to guess because it says it, but it's a bow made of branches I picked up nearby. I can't wait to get a better bow. That is the description of the bow.
They should keep these.
I know, they're fucking amazing. Like,
I can't wait for a better bow.
It's been the most endearing thing about this game is I was like, I gotta just read every item because what mysteries do they hold? Okay.
Oh my God,
I guess I
that's
mentioned the
amazing.
fish fillet, so I won't ask you that one, but I'll give you the description of it. If
Okay,
you
okay.
put a fish into this item, you space LL be able to make slices of fish fillets. The types of fillet and numbers that can be created will change depending upon the fish. Pretty standard. That one's not too bad. Okay. I'll give you this one. Consuming raw meat will harm you, so cook them over the fire. You can ride the updraft created by the campfire with a glider. That's a campfire. That one's a little too much. Okay, here we go. This one, I don't know that you'll get this one because it's a little buck wild.
Okay.
Seems treasure boxes from other worlds look like this. Use coin to receive blank.
Slot machine.
You're close. We've actually used the term already today.
Talking about this game or a different game?
No, a different game. We were talking about Mario Kart.
Pipe. A pipe.
No. You were closer on the first one. But think of the pipe.
Shit.
I guess when you boil down, what is the pipe?
Portal, right?
No,
Portal?
no, close. No, well, not close, really. You're closer before, but...
Oh, so a slot machine was a closer guess.
Yes, yeah. It's not that, but it's closer.
Is it one of those gachapon machines?
It is a gotcha machine. It is a Prism gotcha machine that you can make in the game. Yes.
Okay.
You don't use real money on it, but you can use gotcha coins to get items out of this, I guess.
Fantastic.
Okay, this is one of a billboard. I'm not going to give you this one, but a billboard that you can use to write anything you want, but don't write insults targeted to any.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
We'll fucking find out.
Okay.
This last one.
I've got like probably 3 more I'd care to go over.
Okay.
3 or 4, but yeah, there's some really good ones. Okay. This blank can shoot anything into the air. You might be surprised what it can shoot. Putting animals in it would be ill-advised.
It's a cannon.
Yes. It is a cannon at 45-degree angle. In parentheses.
Specifically. Okay.
Yes. Because if you look at cannon 90 degrees, anything hammer out cannon. Large cannon to be able to come up with humans definitely clear from the 1865 Verne, A Trip to the Moon. That is
Dude, I would have never guessed that one.
Of the item.
You would have never guessed that, motherfucker.
I know.
Holy shit.
I also love that somehow either a person or the machine learning more or less came up with like, oh yeah, that's a book by Charles Verne, A Trip to the Moon. That has to do with this cannon and 90-degree angles.
So let me get this straight. You have to craft each cannon.
Yeah, this is and here's the description. Angle. This is cannon at 0 degrees. Anything hammer out cannon, people not only let's put various things. But a 45-degree angle cannon, animals are ill-advised. But this one, various things.
Yeah, that's okay. Perfect.
Let me see.
This is fantastic.
Okay. Fly slammed the air to the ground in the spinning rotor by said things to the 300 horsepower squeezed from the Series V-type 8-cylinder engine machine. Major feature of it is the air weighting by hovering.
It's a helicopter.
It is a helicopter, yes.
Okay. God damn. I guess I've never heard a helicopter described before because I know what a helicopter
by its
is.
like principle and its abilities. Yeah, I know it's a little wild. Okay, Leaf.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay, I'll do I got probably 2 more really good ones.
All right, I got you.
Leaf floating in the magic. It is possible to feed a variety of tricks that manipulate well. In the air, error to grab and press the.
One more time.
Sure.
Run that by me one more time.
Sure.
I think my brain is broken.
No problem. Leaf floating in the magic. It is possible to feed a variety of tricks that manipulate well. In the error to grab and press the.
Is that your glider?
No, it is not. But it is
floating in the magic.
It is a vehicle though. And I did mention it previously.
A hoverboard?
It is a hoverboard, yes.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay. Okay, last two. Vehicle to control the center of gravity in the whole body, manipulate the 2 tires. Error, perform that brake.
Motorcycle.
Yes. It is a motor.
Okay.
And the description, the beginning of this is the so-called motorcycle, vehicle to control the center of gravity. By 2 wheels,
Perfect.
whole body. By gravity of the whole body, manipulate the 2 tires. Again, never heard a motorcycle described like that.
Yeah.
But here we go.
Because you know what it is. Like, babies know what motorcycles are.
Yeah, they have a loose idea. Okay, here's the this is the last one I'll ask you, and then this last one I will just say because it's another kind of funny one. But okay, a monument so large that it can be spotted from outer space, it is surely to be remembered as long as humanity persists.
Pyramid.
I don't know. You cheated on that one, but yeah, it is a pyramid.
That's the one that you told me.
Yeah,
about.
that's the one I told you because you picked that up as an item. I found a pyramid in a chest, and I could just equip it and place it on the ground.
And you can see it from space.
Okay. An embellished. This one I'm just gonna tell you what it is, but it's an embellished cape. It is also known as inverse cape and used to protect oneself from wind and snow, and that is orange cape for man. Is the item there?
Perfect.
Okay. Hold on. Damn it! I totally forgot about these. Well, this will be a bonus round because some of these are really good. Okay.
I tell you what. Hey, should we go to the other games real quick, and then at the end of the show we'll wrap it up with a couple more of these?
We'll just get these out of the way because I think I'll probably cut this as a highlight.
Okay.
I think just because
I got you.
It's worth seeing by itself. Okay. Okay. Here's this item. The bulge is bread, which has received the blessing of the fairy. It is said to be firmly and thinks is not enough.
Bulge the bread?
Bulge is bread, which has received the blessing of the fairy. It is said to be firmly and thinks is not enough.
Is it bread?
It is bread. It is just bread.
Just bread, not loaf of bread? Just bread.
Just the word bread.
Okay.
I just love, it is said to be firmly and thinks is not enough. Like, what the fuck?
Who's blessing bread?
The priest, I guess. They do unleavened bread, but that's not, that's not regular bread. This is the most basic material for crafting. Try making a pickle and a working bench first.
A pickle?
Try making a pickle and a working bench first.
It's used. Okay, so it says it's used in crafting.
This is the most basic material for crafting. Try making a pickle and a working bench first.
The most basic. When you say the most basic material for crafting, I immediately go to wood.
You're in a right wheelhouse, but what else would you get with wood to start with?
Leaves.
Nah, you're getting farther away.
What else would you get with wood?
Not with wood, but in your early stages of a crafting game.
Oh, stone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
What the fuck does that have to do with a pickle?
I think it meant to say make a pickaxe, but it for sure says pickle. So there's that.
Nailed it.
Okay. Once upon a time, it was higher than gold. When the hawkers handled, rarely live happily, and the wolf dream.
And the wolf dream.
That part may be less relevant.
That part's relevant because that's the one I'm holding on to the most. That's like the one on my mind. Repeat the first couple lines.
Once upon a time, it was higher than gold. When the hawker is handled, rarely live happily in the wolf dream. Duh.
Dude, I have no Dude, that one is like, there's no fucking answer.
Oh, there is. It's pepper. That's pepper.
It's higher than gold?
Yeah, I think at a point in history it was like a very expensive spice, but I've got 9 of them here, so how expensive could it have been?
I'm just learning lessons now.
I know.
This is just, dude, I learned how a helicopter works. Now I know that pepper was a hotter commodity than gold. Wow, okay. Excellent. Fantastic. The wolf's dream. What the fuck does that have to do with it?
I don't have any idea. Okay, we got, let's see, I think 2 more. Okay. Yeah, we got 2 more.
Lay them on me.
Okay. Blank powder can take from the sea and rock, from flowing with sweat and not enough life-threatening maintenance. Also import as a seasoning.
Salt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Seasoning, I think, was the bow on that whole thing because I was like, okay, salt, so it was like sea, stone, whatever the fuck it's sand, whatever the fuck it said.
I was gonna leave out the sea and salt or the sea and stuff part from the beginning, but I was like, I'll let you have one. The other ones have been fucking nuts. Okay.
Yeah. Without that, I don't think I would have got that.
All right. Containing a small amount of acidic acid, it is used to add a sour taste in cuisine. There is a legend that drink when the body becomes soft.
Lemonade?
No.
Drink when the body becomes soft.
Yeah, but and I don't think you would drink this ever. So there is also that.
Vinegar.
Yes.
No shit, it's actually vinegar.
It is vinegar. Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay, but so repeat the first line of that.
Contains a small, it says seasoning, but I left that out. It says seasoning containing a small amount of acidic acid. It is used to add sour taste in cuisine. There is a legend that drink when the body becomes soft.
So you would think lemon, because without the seasoning part, because you get to the body soft thing, and it's like, oh, my body would be very soft if I didn't have enough lemonade. Of course. All right.
I'll leave this very last one just as the description, but this is for an automatic furnace. This is a little gift for you. Large scale equipment capable of performing continuous casting. Mr. Ferry, 24-hour 3-shift work or operating. Work ending met sake. Please safely.
Are they unionizing?
I fucking have no idea, brother. Even a little bit.
The ferries
just
operating the oven or the furnace or
well, it's Mr. Ferry, 24-hour 3-shift work or operating. So work ending met sake. Please safely. You know.
So is the furnace closed at night? That's what that sounds like.
I don't have any idea. I haven't made one yet. It's it takes quite a bit of materials, but that you did great. I don't know your tally, but I will say that you won. because who else would have been able to? What a wild fucking game Craftopia happens to be. It's so fun you can make secondary games out of it as a game. So there you go.
That's fucking amazing.
It's pretty good. I'm very happy to have found that for you. Now on to a very, very good video game. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 came out. It's fantastic. I'm sure by now, since it's been out for a little bit, most people are aware that it's a very good and faithful remake to the original Tony Hawk games. As I think Jeff Gerstmann put it, it plays how you thought Tony Hawk felt when you were a kid. And I agree with that pretty wholeheartedly. It does very much feel... Apparently what they did was they worked off of that original coding and engine and just built on top of it in a lot of ways. So it is updated in a lot of very smart ways and kept the same in a lot of other really smart ones as well. I think the biggest thing is, like I said before, or last week, I guess, when we didn't, which no one heard, or I guess in the review itself, but I really hope that they use this as a platform going forward to at least put out 3 and hopefully 4 as well. And then I imagine at that point they'll probably skip the Thug games and then probably make a new Tony Hawk game, is my guess here. Because it feels great. It plays super well. The online's really good. The challenge system is a super awesome addition. Like, some of that stuff gets really, really difficult. There is, I think, over 710 challenges. I think I've beaten 140 some of them. But there's a lot of them. There's 21 for each character, including the Creative Skater. I think the Creative Skater has quite a few more just because they imagine you'll probably play as that. A lot of the ones for the pros will be like, hey, do all of your special moves in one combo, do this one at this specific gap and get this score. Some will be like, do a 200 or 20,000 point combo with no reverts or grabs, grinds only, no specials, stuff like that. There's also, they've added a speedrun mode for the multiplayer stuff with leaderboards and things. So it's like basically the clock ticks backwards, and based on how fast you get every challenge completed, you'll add it to the leaderboard. I was happy to find that I'm in the top 70 or the top 100, I guess, of the warehouse speed run. That was pretty good to find out. And it's cool, just another thing to keep replayability. There's also a leaderboard for the highest score on each of the stages. Though I've been seeing a lot of videos circulating of a guy doing like 102 million combos on certain stages. So good fucking luck. But yeah, it's I mean, I'm really good at the game, and there's people that are just fucking amazing at this game. And I think by virtue of them adding stuff from Tony Hawk 3 and 4, like the reverts and the wall plans and stuff like that, it really makes the game feel like you remember it, because only the first 2 games didn't have that, and then every game going forward did. So I think it made a lot of sense when they went back to this one to give you those, because it does play more like you remember the series, because the later ones you obviously probably played a lot more of because there was just more of them. And I think that was awesome. There is stuff that you don't see in games anymore. There's cheat codes, there's secret characters, there's secret levels. That's super cool to come back and get. Once you've found the secret characters, you can use their special moves on your Creative Skater. Same with their decks and all that other stuff.
Do they have any of those original like third-party characters in this game? Like, did they license anything?
No.
Or?
So no. There's only 2 secret characters that I've found so far. One of them is Jack Black, who plays Officer Dick, which is, I think, we had either predicted or said something about before. Yeah. But he's in there as a character. He also does the voice for all the characters that are in the game, like the office the officer on the school level, and then Ollie the Magic Bum on Venice. He does the voice for that as well. And then there's an alien that is you have to find a plushie on every single level that's hidden. And then there's 19 of them, and once you get all those, you unlock him, and he has some pretty interesting special abilities and stuff like that. And then you can have up to 4 Creative Skaters, so you can get some pretty open-ended work there if you want. I saw a few people make like Spider-Man, and then I think Joe Dirt was one of them, and some other stuff. So they've been kind of fun with those. I wish there was like a little bit more robust. There is a lot of stuff that you can unlock, but I wish it was a little more. But I imagine they'll probably add DLC stuff. There's already actually a DLC pack out now, which it was a little weird because they said they weren't going to do any DLC at launch, but the second day I think there was one, which is like $5.
Technically,
and
they're
like,
right.
yeah, technically speaking, they are. But it was like some costume pack for some Army veterans or something, like Call of Duty based something or other. I don't quite know what it was, but it was just a few items, like all American flag and camo shit. Not something I'm interested in, so I didn't get it. But yeah,
I'll ask you this.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
So I know you're saying like you want Tony Hawk 3 and 4, but like what would happen if they would just say, like maybe a year from now or like 6 months from now, like, hey, we're doing like DLC pack 1, $20, and we're going to give you all the stages and challenges from Tony Hawk 3.
Yeah.
And then they do the same thing with 4.
Yeah.
Do you think that the feature set that they have right now is in line with what those games delivered?
4 is a little weird because 4 is like got a little more into that open world thing. You're sort of stopping people and they're giving you challenges and stuff. I think it got away with the it moved away from the 2-minute timer and went to a more like each challenge had a timer on it. And I think by virtue of that, there was a lot more voice lines and stuff in that game, if I remember correctly, because that was also when it was on the PS. It was like, I think the first one that was purposely made just for the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox, I want to say, so they had more disk space and some other stuff there and higher power, so they could kind of, I think, get away with more stuff, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain. So yeah, I think they could do that one. I think that would be a little bit more work on their end for sure to do that. But I think 3 especially, they could easily be done because it was effectively just another one of these. Yeah, what did you ask exactly? I'm sorry, I kind of lost the plot a little bit.
I was saying, so if do you see them maybe releasing like the maps and like challenges from those stages as DLC for this?
Oh yeah, that's what I want. That's what I'm saying is I hope they do this as a platform because, like I said in the review that I put up, like the way that your stat points are pointed out, it says like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 stats. Like it says it in the stat menu, and there's like a specific icon that shows 1 and 2 stat points, which really makes me feel like they're gonna probably put the other games in and then have like your character will probably reset to some extent, but your overall level won't, because they have this like overall account level system in the game, which is tied to like the challenges and other stuff you do. So I would imagine that they'll probably do like a reset on stats for your character or whatever, but then you can progress through all that stuff again. And when you play those, you'll probably go back to it. I think in addition, for longevity of the multiplayer, that will also be cool because that would throw in all those maps in the multiplayer rotation, because the way the multiplayer works is like you go to a certain stage. It's like basically free skate until a thing starts. There's usually like a 30-second timer, and then a game mode will start. It'll tell you what's coming up. You do the game mode, shows you who wins. You stay in there, continuing to skate. Then another timer will pop up. And it's like 30 more seconds, and we'll start this game or whatever. You do about like 4 or 5 of those, I think, and then it switches to the next map, and then you do it, again. So it's cool because it always keeps you skating. Like, it never seems like there's not even really like you're still skating when it just pops up and shows you who won the last round. So it's like you're never not playing the game, which I think is really cool. Something else they did with the music is like it never stops either. So like even on a loading screen or in the title screen, the same song will play its duration. So like you can skip a song at any time by pressing the R1, but the music's always going, so you're never like, catching 10 seconds of a song, restarting a level, and then a new song or whatever. Like it feels like a continual session of skateboarding while still restarting your skating. Almost similar to like Skate or Skater XL or whatever, like just moving your player icon or just resetting your position or something. It's almost similar to, it kind of gives that feel without doing that exactly. Yeah, it's an incredible package, and for $40, like there is a ton of there's also the Creative Park stuff, which probably I think overall needs the most rework. Like they need to add in like letting you name your own gaps and levels and changing the backgrounds a little bit, and probably some more pieces and stuff like that. That's another note, is some of the pieces in that game are from 3 and 4 from what I've seen, so that gives you another indication that stuff is probably coming in some capacity. And yeah, I think if they released each of those games as a $20 add-on, Like that's, I think, more than fair for a full game, and especially with all the up-res stuff they've done and everything else. But yeah, it's fantastic. Like it really plays super good. You really couldn't ask for a better, more faithful follow-up or remaster of a game. Like if anything going forward, I think it's going to make a lot of other remasters look pretty terrible based on how good this one is. Actually, as an example, like Kingdoms of Allure Reckoning, that remaster they put out, it's effectively just the PC version of that game. So like as a PC player, playing $40 to get that game again is pretty insane, because it just adds like an FOV slider, and that's about it. So it's it puts a lot of remakes to shame, and I'm really happy to see what they do forward, and I'm really excited to get another Tony Hawk game, like a new one, because now I think if Vicarious is handling it, then as long as Activision doesn't do some real bogus shit with it, I think we might have
which they have room to.
Oh yeah, because they ruined it the first time. So when they got their hands on it, they put out, you know, like Ride and Sessions or something, and then the 5 or whatever, which was a complete cash grab and some other shit. So I mean, they have the potential to send it through the shithole, but with the amount of care Vicarious put into this, I would hope that going forward they'll continue to do the same, because I think at the end of the day it'll reflect on them instead of Activision. So hopefully they'll have the ability to continue on with this, because they did an outstanding job with this. So yeah, for $40, I think it's my game of the year, to be completely honest.
Like, shit, it's $40?
Yeah, it's $40.
Oh, that changes the script, dude. I'm buying this tonight. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. It's that's the thing. Is like there's a $50, like you get some extra costumes for Tony Hawk and some other stuff, like an Ultimate Edition or whatever. But yeah, the base game is $40. So again, if they just add the other ones for $20 each, if you paid $80 for all 4 games in this package, that's still, I think, a good value. Like really overall, especially if they add new challenges and stuff overall, whatever. But yeah, as far as I mean, I'm hugely biased towards Tony Hawk, because it's been a huge franchise for me growing up, and it influenced me skateboarding in real life. But
I will say, like, you're not the only one. Like the word of mouth on this game has been incredible. Like, especially from like all the fans and stuff. Like, I can't imagine like playing Tony Hawk 1 through maybe Thug 2 and I guess Wasteland, or American Wasteland, and then like, because when we talked last week, you said that one wasn't way too bad, but like playing up to that point and then just having like 10 years of fucking terrible fucking games.
Terrible attempts, or not even like even the HD remake they did before. It's not to say that they didn't care when they were putting that together, but they didn't really do anything. Like they did like a little bit of up-resing maybe, and that was about it overall. And then, like I said, they didn't, like, they added reverts as DLC, which was annoying as hell already, and they just fumbled the execution all around. Whereas this one, it's like they really thought about, it seems like everything. Like even as much as adding 5 new challenges to each of the first game stages to then make them equal to the amount that every stage in Tony Hawk 2 had, which I believe is either 9 or 10 challenges. So those levels match now, and then, you know, distributing the stat points, making sure the game starts and restarts extremely quickly, which is what you need in a game like this. I'll say too, if you have any other thing, read the Digital Foundry article. They put out a really like heartfelt piece about it this morning, and like just saying kind of the same things, but they worded it really, you know, more concisely than I'm doing. But yeah, just saying a lot of the same thing. Like that was, I guess, the main thing from them is like it runs on it's 60 FPS on every console, base, Pro, Xbox One, S, PC, everything it's on, it runs at 60 frames. So they've put all the work in to make it, to give it the respect that series really deserves. Because I mean, for a while after Tony Hawk, you got like SSX and then Dave Muir and all these copycats and stuff. Like it influenced extreme sports games in general, like for video games and skateboarding as a whole. I think also, like, I was already someone who skateboarded before that, but playing it just really solidified my love for it. And then playing Tony Hawk, like a thing I realized playing this again, I was like, oh yeah, it made me really look at the world as a skate park instead of just, because I lived in a small town that didn't have a skate park. So you'd like, when you're driving around, you're like, oh, there's a four-stair over there, or that's the Kroger Gap, or the Penny's has like a nice drop there, and then there's a good rail over in this area, and you'd sort of like the way the game sort of names gaps and rails and stuff. That's what we would do in real life anyways. Just like, oh yeah, that's the Kroger Gap, that's the four stair, and everyone locally knew what we were talking about, especially people that skated. So it's like, it gave me that idea. It was like when I was driving around, I was looking for skate spots. I think by virtue of Tony Hawk being like, just skate whatever you want. And I think by virtue of that, people actually skateboarding started to be like, they did crazy shit in this game that's totally unreal, but there's a lot of stuff in here you could probably manage if you were good enough, and so I think it changed skateboarding as a whole in general. And it's a huge piece in time for video games and skateboarding in general. So for them to actually take the reverence and care in it that it truly does deserve, it's heartwarming. Like I really can't speak highly enough. Like I said, I think it's easily my game of the year this year. Like there's a lot of stuff I've played that I've really enjoyed, but there's just something about what they've done here. So yeah,
it's perfect, man. That's
Tony
cool
Hawk,
as shit.
Great video game.
I'll be picking it up. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah, we should play the multiplayer, man. You should get beat by me a bunch.
So I guess before we get to news, did you want to touch on your last two games? I just had really one game I wanted to talk about.
No, Strange Brigade's kind of bad. It's not really that
week.
fun. It was a fun experience, but at $60 or $50 or whatever, it's an insane. I've actually had kind of fun playing the point system thing where you like go through the levels again for just accumulating score rather than like the missions. And so that's been kind of fun to get some more play out of it. It was one of the humble games, so I didn't really pay more than $1 for it, I guess you would say. And at that price, there's some fun there. But as we played it multiplayer, it's okay. It's kind of just like one note. It doesn't really expand on itself much.
It's very that game.
Yeah, and then Nick and I finished it, and the final two stages in that last boss were just boring as fuck. So it was a letdown there. Barn Finders is cool. It's like this weird. It's kind of like if you ever watched
Storage Wars.
Sort of Storage. It's like Storage Wars mixed with American Pickers and some other stuff. Like you have a storefront that you sell shit at, but you have an overall map that you're going to different locations because people are looking for certain items. So you go around like maps, finding every item that you can there, and then you take it back to your thing, and you'll either like repair it or clean it up, and then put it in your storefront and sell it. And then you can haggle with people. Then you can also do like the storage bidding to get a thing, and then and sell that. There's also some like mini games where you can play basketball at your house and some other shit. It's a weird little game, but I've really enjoyed it because I was a huge fan of those shows and used to watch them with my family a bunch. So it's kind of neat. I also worked retail for a long time, so like the idea of owning a store and stuff is, I get it. So there's some fun there where I don't have to deal with customers actually bitching. So that's kind of fun.
Did you play Moonlighter?
Yeah,
it almost sounds like Moonlighter maybe sans the combat.
There's no combat or anything like that. There is like it's more of like a somewhat puzzly sort of treasure hunt kind of thing. Like there's the stages, there's like certain walls that you can go through that you might not notice. There's like some collectibles there. You can find like hidden posters that you can put back up in your store. Then you can decorate the storefront and stuff. It's kind of similar. I think it might even be the same developer that did House Flipper, I think. It might be those same guys. So it definitely runs a lot better than that game does. Actually, let me double check because I'm not totally sure that that's correct. But it feels very similar to that game, I think, in the storefront side of it anyway. And then the out and about stuff is fun. It's a nice, relaxing, like no pressure kind of game. And I think maybe 20. I think it's on promotion actually currently till the 18th. So it's like $16. So I bought it, I think, on the day that it came out. Just because I played the demo and I was like, yeah, I could play more of that. No, it's not the same developer, but there is a there is a bundle where you can buy it and House Flipper together. So So they have some affiliation, I guess, in some way, or maybe they're just like, hey, we know if you played this game, you'll probably play this one too. So there is that. But yeah, it's cool. If you're into that kind of thing, I myself I've enjoyed it. Excuse me.
Now I will contribute my 5%. No, you're good. You're good. You know,
so Divinity 2, pretty good game.
Yeah. So I'll just say that, like, a lot of the games that I play, like, I kind of have already mentioned, or we've played like together or with friends. Like, we play Divinity 2 pretty frequently. We did a Jackbox night that was a lot of fun. Jackbox games are fucking incredible. We'll be talking about Jackbox 7 a little bit in the news, which looks a lot of fun. But I have actually been playing.
We did Lethal League also. That was the other big one we played, I think, this week. Lethal League
was a lot of fun. If you like that first game, it's the same thing. It's just like a 3D kind of rendition of it.
Sort of a Smash Brothers-esque game, but...
Yeah. I started playing something that popped up on Game Pass last week because I played it on PlayStation, and I was like, okay, I could play this again, and that's Resident Evil 7. I'll say right off the bat, I am not a big horror game guy, at all. I am not into these at all. In fact, when I played the PlayStation version, I had to have a friend like in Discord with me while I played it, or like over at my house, so I didn't feel like I was gonna die.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that the game, at least when you're in the Baker house, like in this plantation, you're in this kind of like manor house, and then you go to like this kind of almost boathouse kind of thing. Well, there's this house, then what they call the old house, and then a boathouse. I think the game is a lot scarier in the first two areas you go to, and then when the game you go to like with Lucas there, he's the kid in the hoodie. When you go to his like obstacle course stuff, it's a little more like it's a little more puzzly, but not as scary. And then you go to a boat, like you leave this part of the island, you get to a boat, and the boat stuff, I think it's still like the low point of the game. I just don't find it a lot of fun. But I'm gonna play it and beat it again on PC. But I will say, like, that first half is like some of the most expertly crafted like horror, like Resident Evil style, like find the key, find the right pathing, a lot of the environmental puzzles of this area.
Yeah,
it's the stuff that is strongest in this game to me. And I was never really huge into Resident Evil. I played a little bit of 2 as a kid. I played Resident Evil 4 all the way on the GameCube when I was like 5th or 6th grade, and I liked that game a lot. I kind of fell off, didn't really play 5 or 6, but I originally
kind of
played this on
different
PlayStation.
games too, though. 5 and 6 were like a little. I mean, they were closer to 4, but they were sort of their own kind of weird thing.
No, I hear 6 is like terrible. If you're a big fan of Resident Evil, it's not great.
Yeah, well, I wasn't huge growing up with it either because I didn't love the tank control stuff. Like, it always felt bad to play, and I would just get frustrated with it. And then 6 is like, they have a really cool dive on the ground mechanic, but that's like as much as I can give it credit for. Some people really love it. My friend Thomas is like big into horror and stuff, and he said he really liked it. I didn't care for what I played of it, but maybe that's something we could go back and co-op and give a try, I guess, and see if it's worth something. You know, I don't know. It may be better with 2 people. Playing it by myself, it was an awful mess, but with 2 people, it might be better. Because I've heard 5 is really that way too. If you play that, like, I've heard 5 is much better, but if you play that with 2 people, it's a better game. But
and I think this came out, like, when this came out, people were kind of like polarized by it. Because one, it's like a first-person game set in like the Resident Evil series, and they've never really done that. But I think it captures the ambiance. Like, it's scary, dude. Like, I wasn't scared playing 4. I wasn't really scared playing either. 2 as a kid either. But like this game, like when he turns the corner here, if he goes the right way, there you go. When he turns the corner up here, like the first time this happened. When you see
is he like bust through the wall or whatever?
It doesn't bust through the wall yet, but You see him on the other side just walking through. And then, like, yeah, he turns and starts, like, chasing you through this area. If you know where to go and what to do, he's not really threatening. But
if you haven't figured it out yet, then it's like a scramble. Because I didn't quite know what I was doing when I first played this.
Yeah, Jack Baker's scary. You know, the whole game, it's just really cool. I like the, like, strange mystery going on with, like, who Evelyn is, like what your girlfriend's, like, role in the whole thing is in the game. Mia is her name. And then like, you actually, I guess, spoilers for this 3-year-old game, but you come to find out, like, these people were, like, kind of possessed in a way by, like, this weird parasite. Umbrella's involved at some point. But,
are they really? I hadn't finished this game, so I wasn't sure.
So the helicopters at the end of the game that come pick you up, they're Umbrella helicopters. Or they're the police department helicopters. I forget, but there is a tie into the other games. So while it is like a pseudo reboot, it is still trying to be a sequel.
Have they said if the Village is tied into this at all?
So
because I know it's another first person Resident Evil, but I don't know. Yeah, okay. I was curious if they'd said anything.
I do know Chris Redfield's in that game, so they're doing a little bit more of the fan servicey stuff, going back to some of the original characters.
Yeah.
I like that this game kind of stands on its own. Like, without that ending thing, like, you could play this. They could have named this anything other than Resident Evil, and it would have, I think it would have maybe not sold as well, but it still would have been a fantastic game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I think it's cool.
That's all I'll really say about it.
For a game all about home invasion and redecorating, it's pretty cool. I was like watching you stream it, and it was basically like you steal all this guy's shit, you re-hide it in different areas, and then you fire off shots anytime you see the man who owns this. I mean, it's his property, so he can do what he wants. And
listen, man.
Yeah. Look, I'm not defending him. He's a monster, but it's his goddamn property, and you invaded.
Dude, I'll just put it this way. This guy.
And where is this in the game?
So this is like right before you depart and get on the ship. This is when you come to Zoe and Mia, and Zoe's like, okay, you bring me these ingredients, I'll craft these serums for you. And then all this wild shit happens. That's the one thing I like, is that there's kind of this running gag almost where this is Jack, that guy in that hallway earlier, if you've never played the game. He dies like 5 times, and this is like his final form.
Oh, wow. That's goofy as
hell.
Yeah,
I do not feel bad for this guy. I could steal his shit. I could rearrange his furniture. I know it's his house, and he's just some horrible homunculus, but fuck him.
Just because he's ugly, dude, and he's like, he didn't have the best education, you're going to just act like he's a monster. I mean, he clearly is a monster here. But when you were first stealing all of his drugs and shooting him in the head, you didn't quite know that. Also, dude, how many eyeballs can one guy have? What's up with this?
Yeah, this boss fight's really easy. You just hit the weak points. He goes into a state.
The glowing weak points?
Yeah.
His eyeballs.
The game... the challenge in the game is like when you don't know what you're doing. Once you figure out what you're doing and like you play the game a second time, it's not a hard game. The challenge, it is challenging at a point if you don't know what you're doing. But what I was getting at is like this guy actually becomes sympathetic later, so you end up like having
feeling bad that you robbed his house.
We have a moment where you like actually kind of see them in like the afterlife, and they're like real apologetic, and they're like, we didn't know that this little girl would do this to us, and like it kind of turns a lot of this stuff into like a humanity in a way.
Changes the narrative a bit.
Yeah, there is a lot of goofiness though. But I think like once you leave this spot and you get to the ship, it gets a little more grounded. But it also becomes less scary and unpredictable. Because from that point onward, you're just fighting these glob monsters.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I should go back and finish this, because I haven't really made it super far. Jack and I were kind of playing through it and recording a little bit of it, but hadn't really.
I'll say like if you and your girlfriend are into like some light horror games, y'all like kind of getting scared together on a couch. It's really good. I will say I'm glad they're doing another first person Resident Evil. I think there's a lot of room for them to do this and do it again. And
yeah, it's a really good first showing of that concept. From what I understand and what the little I've played of it. I mean, because I played maybe, I guess, up to the chainsaw scissor fight, and then finished that, and then I hadn't really picked it up after that. That was kind of the point where we decided to stop for the night. So yeah, it's a good first showing because I started playing 2, I guess, recently. And I really enjoyed that game. But that's another one. That game really doesn't scare me at all. I've been like just booking it through it, and it's been super fun. I mean, what's his nuts? Tough Fedora is like pretty hard to like. He can be pretty scary, but other than that, yeah, it's been mostly just like a really fun action puzzle game.
Yeah, and something I guess this was news last week. And I guess now that we're talking about it, they did release new sales figures for Resident Evil 7, and it is Capcom's second best-selling game behind Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, the best game ever made. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I understand. Everybody needs to play Monster Hunter. It's the best video game ever, best franchise ever made. There's no question. Yeah. Monster Hunter is phenomenal.
It's on Game Pass, so go play it if you want to get spooked. But yeah. That's all I got for games. Our continual
non-sponsored sponsor is Game Pass, which we're about to fucking talk about again for quite a bit.
Yeah. So I say we probably take another tiny little break, come back and finish out with news.
Alrighty.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're gonna rock and roll right through some news. A bunch of shit has happened. A bunch of shit, but we've narrowed it down. What I think are five very important news stories over the last 2 weeks. They're actually 6.
I'm behind an index. No, go ahead.
I'm interested to hear about what happens with that pre-order process, by the way.
Yeah, I'll keep you all updated because I think it's going to be 2 months before it even starts to get shipped. So we'll see. And the world may be on fire by that point because California's already starting it, so we'll see what happens.
So I guess we'll just start with the biggest thing that happened last week that I think everybody's talking about.
Known about by now, yeah. So, but you probably guys already saw all the announcements. We're not going to talk too much about it, I guess, because it's widely known at this point. But
yeah.
Yeah. Mario go-karts in real life, except not go-karts and RC cars.
The Virtual Boys, or not Virtual Boy, the Game & Watch is making a comeback.
Which is cool to see. What else was there? We got Super Mario 3D Land 2 plus Bowser's Anger.
There's that Game & Watch.
There's
nice.
Game & Watch. Yep.
And then they're re-releasing Mario 3D World next year, which is cool.
Yeah, really, really good game. A lot of people didn't play because it was on the Wii U, so that was understandable. But that was a really good. I'm glad to see people are going to get to play this game and give it the second round love because it'll hold up just fine. Like you could have not even said that this was not a Wii U or a Switch game, and you probably wouldn't know the difference. Like it's a great video game. So this is worth playing.
Definitely the best in that I guess land or I get. Would you call this the 3D series? Because there was like
I guess like I said, I think it would still be the land series because it's like it's that side scroller sort of thing, and then they have like a semi behind the back sort of 3D thing. I mean, it is 3D. But I think, because again, with the overworld and other stuff, I think it makes it a world title more than the others, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game. It's a really good game. The catsuit's fun. The multiplayer works well. It's difficult at a point. Yeah, this is, I don't quite know how this is implemented, but this seems like a whole nother set of stages or world altogether. It's hard to say. I'm interested to see how much work they did on this, or if this is even like updated fidelity and other stuff. Like, I'm not sure what this is in accordance to the rest of the game, like how it matches. I mean, it seems like it's in the same vein, but yeah, I don't know. That's it. Maybe it was stuff that got made and never got released too.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it. I really don't know.
They're also, I guess,
Making
doing
a battle
royale thing.
It's weird. The thing about all this is weird is everything here is like some kind of limited time release of some kind. It's like this is only available till March. The thing we're about to talk about is only till March. I guess the 3D World is a proper release, so that'll be forever as far as I can see.
But you can only
Game
play
& Watch
this
was
until,
limited
March.
as well.
You can only play this
31st or
until
21st maybe.
Yeah, sometime in March is when they were cutting it off. Which is a shame. Like I said last week when we talked about this, is that, I say that I would want to play this beyond March 31st, but I'll probably play it for maybe a week or two and be like, I got my fill of it. But I would still love the option to go back to it. So maybe if the popularity's there, they just kind of extend that a bit.
I would say what they maybe do is put that one out for that first Mario, and then they'll maybe do one with the next game, and then kind of go forward like a new run with a new game, maybe like Mario Land or something. I don't know. They have options.
Just spin it into like a whole like game. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be fine. I really am curious to see, because maybe that's why they're doing the limited on the first one, is they're like, okay, well, here's this, and we'll see how this does. If it does well enough and people pick it up enough, we'll do another game or something. I don't know. Yeah, and then or maybe they'll extend it indefinitely if it does well enough. It's hard. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, this is not limited. You buy this and you always have it. The toys aren't going to disappear from your house.
Yeah, no. Though your house may disappear from you, so the toy won't matter. But it's hard to say.
Ooh, mom and dad got to take out another loan.
Yeah,
things are getting hard.
It's wild times. Well, they might not be buying toy go-karts for kids at that point, but who knows? This seems really cool though. Like if I was a kid, I'd be shitting right now. I think this would be awesome to have. It is a little weird. It's kind of jarring to me though, because I've thought about it a little more now that it's came out, and it's weird because you're playing a game on the screen, so the kart part is almost irrelevant outside of making the track. It would almost be maybe more interesting if they could just make a Mario Kart maker, and be able to do that, because this is a little odd, because it's not like you can share the track either. Like, it's all for you guys, and then you're still looking at a TV or the screen and playing it, so that because you won't know what's happening or power-ups or anything if you don't. So it's kind of weird. Like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't know, because the game is all still stuck on the screen. So
what I want to see are like the elaborate things people do, like in their house or like on the street. Like they set up a bunch of like cool scenery and stuff for these cars to go through. I think that's a point of entertainment there. Also, it's 100% for kids and family. So
sure, yeah. Well,
and
families with wood floors.
Yeah, this is something I could see myself playing with our child. So
Yeah,
really cool.
I think it's neat. And it's like we were saying with Labo, it's like I'm more interested to see what people do with it rather than just it as a product by itself. So
I'll back up here just for the sake of that we talked about it earlier.
Dude, don't show people how to get those pins. They're gonna run out. I want them damn pins. No, but yeah, they're doing this too. They're giving away like a pin set if you do some things related around the Mario thing. And the hardest part is you have to play Mario Kart Tour, which we talked about at the beginning, and that's probably the toughest part of this whole challenge.
Those skins look cool. Those characters look so cool.
I know they do.
I hate that game sucks.
Give me controller support, and then we'll talk and put it on the fucking Switch. Like, just come on. You can play it in landscape. You just port it over, man. Just give me the thing.
I guess real quick, they did release Mario All-Stars on the Switch, and that's the graphical remake of the first Mario Brothers game. It's a graphical remake of every game in this collection, but it has the Lost Levels, which was the Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2. And that was available the day that this Direct came out, and you always love hearing that. You always love hearing, hey, it's available now.
I mean, that's Nintendo's move as of late. I mean, they did it twice this month already, so it's which I guess we'll talk about the other one here at the end of this. But yeah, I like this. I'm fine with it. I think the limited release of this is a little egregious, but I think I know what's happening. But yeah, so effectively they're putting out Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Galaxy into one 3-game 3D All-Star package. Again, it's weird because it's a limited release until March, which is physical and digital limited. My guess, and what we talked about before, I think, is they're going to probably split the package up and then piecemeal the games, either $20 a piece, or my guess is more like $10 for 64 and then $30 for the other two. Or maybe all 20 each. It's hard to say. I don't know. But at that point, why would you separate them if you're going to be ending up spending the same amount of money?
I think it would be very hard for them to justify a full 20 for Mario 64, considering that game was like $6 on the Wii U.
Yeah, and I don't think, because again on the Bombcast they talked a little bit about this today when I was listening to that, and just that they didn't really do anything to any of these games. Like they changed like the aspect ratio and they up-resed it a little bit, but they definitely didn't do what they could have done. And they mentioned too, which I guess I'll mention here too. I have to assume they're going to make this playable without without the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, they confirmed that all that stuff is touchscring. When you're playing in handheld, when you're doing the motions, it is like the pointer motion control with the Joy-Cons. But yeah, if you're playing handheld, everything's like touchscreen.
Oh, okay. That makes that less fun for me. But yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I guess we have a regular Switch, so maybe I'll play that one on that instead. Yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. I mean, personally, I'm really most interested in the first two because I played Galaxy not that long ago, and it's still really good. If you hadn't played it, it's totally worth playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great package. I think, again, we'll have to see what the limited time window thing is, but it's still a little egregious, especially during a pandemic. It's a little strange, but that, and then I guess we should mention that Hyrule Warriors 2, I guess, Prologue.
That happened today.
Yeah, that was that yesterday?
Sorry.
Yeah,
it was yesterday.
Well, time doesn't matter, but yeah, it was this week, yesterday. Yeah, they Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, or Breath of the Wild Age of Calamity. I guess I don't know. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Yeah, that's the name. And it's a prequel to Breath of the Wild, but done in that Musou sort of or Musou style game that they did the first one in, and then they've done like Persona games and Fire Emblem and all that stuff.
From what I'm gathering, though, is that like when they were talking about it, is that it's going to be a little bit more of a grounded experience. Because you look at this and it looks like a Nintendo developed like prequel, and they mention like that they worked very hand in hand with the development team of Breath of the Wild and like artists and writers from the original game. So I think
it seems more concise than the other ones have, because the other ones have seemed more. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how it plays out, but it did seem more like. Yeah, because those other ones, especially Dynasty Warriors, really have diminishing returns after the first like few hours of them. You're like, okay, I mean, they're never. I don't think those are ever really meant to be played in like extremely long spurts of time. I'm sure some people do, but I've never been able to spend more than like 2 or 3 hours at a time with them without just going, okay, well, I've hit the A button a lot, so I think I'm gonna back out for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is neat because, like, while Breath of the Wild doesn't give you a whole lot of story, like, all the background and everything, and, like, when you meet the champions and you do the champions ballad, it's all focused on this. Like, 100 years ago, what happened. And it's cool to see that they're going to, like, kind of explore that because it was, like, straight-up warfare, you know? Like, these people were, like, in a war. And that type of gameplay makes sense for that. But I do think... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm agreeing. I think it does coincide with that really well, like with the backstory. And I think this is a better move than making a proper Zelda game to tell that story if they're going to tell it. This totally makes more sense to do that with. And yeah, it seems cool. I'll probably end up getting it. I think it's out in a month. If
I was like, did you play the original Hyrule Warriors? Because
I played it originally on the 3DS, so I didn't have a great experience with it, so I didn't finish it because the frame rate was a little iffy and the LOD load distance and all that was a little rough, and like the fog of war and all that was kind of bad. I did actually recently, before the pandemic, picked up the Fire Emblem one, because I played a lot of most all of the Fire Emblem games because I'm pretty big on tactics stuff, and they did add a lot of stuff to make that game feel like a Fire Emblem game. Like, you're still commanding the map, you're still moving your units other places. The weapon triangle is still relevant. The characters I don't care so much about, I guess, because it's like spans more games than usual. So they're like, those characters are memorable when you're in the game, but when you're done with it, they don't really leave a lasting impression, I think, is what I've come to with that series. Is like, I've liked all those characters, but they kind of all meld together at a point, I guess. Whereas Zelda, it's like, even though they don't necessarily say much, they're just, maybe by virtue of design, they don't look like anime characters. They're maybe more interesting, I guess. I don't know. But that was a good game, so I'm excited to play this because I did, like I said, missing the first one. I'm excited to see what this one is.
Yeah, I was curious because I looked at the eShop after they announced this, and that original Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition still $60.
$60, yeah, you know it is. Come on, dog. They gave it out for free on the Japanese eShop at some point.
No shit.
But I missed that window. Yeah, I found it out like a month after it happened, and I was like, well, fuck, because I wanted to play, because that's initially what I wanted to play, and then I was like, oh, well, they've got the Fire Emblem one for like $20 at the store near me, so I was like, I'll just try that one, I guess. But I would rather have played the Zelda one.
I'll probably end up picking that up. I imagine during the holidays they're probably. Oh, I mean, this thing comes out before the holidays. I think it comes out November.
Yeah, I think maybe November 20th. I'll look it up while you can start talking about the next thing.
So if they do some sales before that, I'll pick it up. But yeah.
Oh, you know they're not going to. Don't act like they're gonna do that right before Christmas. Yeah, November 20th. I mean, they barely do them now throughout the year, even though, I mean, like, and even then it's like $40. Like, it's still not like a cheap game. They're still gonna get as much out of you as they can, because they can.
I follow some of those like Twitter accounts that like post deals on games, and then it's like, oh, at Target you can get this game for $50. It's like, oh, $10 off, amazing.
There's a really good website, actually. It's called PS Prices. And they have a Nintendo eShop side, and it'll do. Usually, I'll sort it by most recommended or most wanted or whatever, because that'll usually give the best games will be at the top of the list. But it'll show you a discount. It updates every single day, so it'll show you the new prices and then like lowest recorded. And then they'll also do physical ones too, so it'll show you like what stores and stuff, whatever. When I first got my Switch Lite, I was on that thing every single day. I was like, all right, when's the next, thing, whatever. But yeah, that's a really good site for that. Mainly because the eShop still sucks. Like, even though they've changed it, it still is a kind of a bummer of a store. So, and in a lot of ways, it's sort of turning into Steam, which is like how many fucking mobile games and weird things are just there. Because when they open the gates, they open the gates. So.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
there's the Nintendo seal of quality doesn't mean anything anymore.
Well, it does if they made it. It doesn't for for everyone else. That doesn't matter. So yeah,
we'll get into this. NVIDIA.
Well, I guess, do you want to mention the Switch rumors real quick, just because we're on Nintendo, and then
sure,
we'll just go ahead and do that because get that out of the way. But yeah, they basically there's like a pretty definite rumor about a 4K Switch coming.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports lately. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Is that there were rumors about? Oh yeah, I do want to accept cookies. Thank you.
Get those cookies, my dog.
There were rumors about a new Switch console, because there always are, but now there's some pretty solid evidence that a lot of developers are being like told to make their games like 4K ready. And yeah, this has been like kind of corroborated. Like Bloomberg had an interview where they were talking about like the next stuff coming up for, Nintendo as far as like investments go, and like what their future projections look like. And within that, they kind of like alluded at the fact that outside developers have already been contacted about making like adjustments to their games for new hardware. So yeah, that only makes sense. Like when we talked about like the I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but there was like a job posting for NVIDIA about bringing like DLSS and like some of the new NVIDIA technology to their mobile chipset. And it's like basically all but confirmed at this point that a new Switch will use NVIDIA's mobile chipset. So they are in a good position to like leverage some of that tech to make a very powerful handheld console. Again, like when we talked about the last console, whether or not they're going to do some pro model where it's going to be like just on the TV. I think that I still think that their best bet is to make something very powerful as a handheld, not only for like a technological achievement of that front, but also just like because the Switch has done so well for them that like it captured both markets very well. And I don't think this is going to be like a revision of the current Switch. I think it's going to be the next generation Switch, but it will play old Switch games. I think that's where they're going to go with it.
I wonder, because I mean, it's not that. One, Nintendo's weird, so they're open to do just weird shit whenever they feel like it. So that could mean either they're gonna just do the home one because they're weird and they decided that that's what they're gonna land on since they already have one that does both and one that only goes portable. So there is that possibility. I agree. I would much rather see it as a portable one because I personally prefer the portable thing. I think the thing I wonder about is like what I hope happens is maybe it's like undocked it's 1080p, docked it can go to 4K, because I feel like if you're going to leverage 4K gaming content in your hand, you're going to burn the battery pretty fast, just as a result of I mean, again, because consoles already struggle with it and the newer ones are going to do it better, obviously. But they still are probably not going to be where you'd absolutely want it. And from what I understand too, is like 4K adoption has not been huge, like overall. Like the TVs are more so there or whatever. I think that I would like to see both options. I prefer playing in handheld just because I'm a huge fan of Game Boys and all that other stuff. So I'd much rather be able to play it in my hand or. While you're waiting for cues to pop or whatever, or, when I go out for a smoke break or a lunch break or whatever, just having the Switch is always really fun. And it has buttons, so it's not a fucking phone game. Nintendo, just put Mario Kart Tour on the Switch. It's we'll see, man. I don't know. It's also like at 4K in your hand, are you going to notice? Like, that's the thing is like, are you really going to care? Because it's like, even now, like 720p looks pretty good in your hand.
I'll say this, like, I'll just flex real quick, I guess. I got a Note 10 Plus.
Whoa!
I know, I'm flexing hard over here.
Take my damn shirt off, girl.
What I'm getting at is like mobile phones have come such a long way in like not only like energy efficient displays, but I think this phone at its max resolution, like let me see exactly what the max resolution on this thing is.
But before you even get into that, how much was it?
1440. This thing was like $1,200.
Exactly.
No big deal. $1,200.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. That's $1,200. I mean, my iPhone 11 was like $1,000, and it's like the base model iPhone. It's got like the upgraded storage or whatever.
I'll say this that because of the way this phone is, and like Samsung, I think half of that price is like not only the R&D that you're paying for on the back end for them to continue to research and develop new mobile stuff, but also like the microprocessing of it all. Like crafting like something like this is fucking expensive. So I understand why phones are pretty expensive, but like if they only took like the battery and the screen and like, they were doing all their other like, manufacturing through other parties, like, their microchips through NVIDIA or whoever's making their boards. Like, I think they could come off a little cheaper than this, but I would not put... I wouldn't put a price tag on the thing just yet, but I think that with the way that mobile phones have gone, the Switch could definitely take a number from that. I mean, the Switch is like from fucking 2017. The Switch Lite is just that tech kind of compounded. I do think that there's room to improve on that stuff mobilely. So
if they do a 4K one, my guess is they're going to come in at about $400. Is like what I would assume is going to be a safe bet for them to do. I wonder. I mean, one thing is like it better have Bluetooth speaker. Like I need a Bluetooth headphone option. It's got to be there.
It's no longer an option.
It's not really an option anymore because phones have worked their way out of it to some extent, and like now owning several pairs, like I don't mind wires, like by any means. I prefer it in most cases, but for a portable system to not have it is pretty buck wild, especially one in our current state, and especially because we've had Bluetooth for so long anyway. So that's like one thing that I feel like maybe keep the headphone jack, but definitely have the option. That's a little wild not to. I would love a redesign of the controllers. I think would be pretty helpful. Fucking give me a D-pad, because playing on the Lite and that D-pad is fantastic. So just put one on there.
The buttons on the Lite are so much better than they are on the regular.
Yeah, they're really they feel really nice. Yeah, I mean, that's just the thing is it's like I get that, you want to be able to use the Joy-Cons in this thing, but it's never a comfortable experience, like, to just use the Joy-Cons realistically. And they got to know that by now, like, I would hope. So it's like just give us the other thing, especially if it's the Pro version. It's like give the Pro feature, which is for some reason a D-pad at this day and age, but give us that, please, if you're gonna do this. And maybe bigger onboard storage wouldn't hurt, I mean, SD cards are hella cheap nowadays, but still wouldn't hurt, if you're gonna, especially with the way games get, and even Switch games. I mean, some of them are 30 gigs, man. That's a big ass thing to have on there. So, that's the thing with maybe the announcement of the Xbox is, well, we'll go there in a minute, but
I just wanted
new graphics cards,
touch on Kelly getting burned.
We get to relive this a second time because you guys missed it last week because we didn't get to post that video, so I get to get burned for another time. Very dope.
Yeah, just very quickly, this is all I'll say because this is everywhere. The RTX 30 series is releasing. They announced the 70, 80, and 90 renditions. The 90 is basically a toaster that you shove into your computer and it makes good graphics.
Well, it's it's the size of 3 motherboards put onto it, an actual industrial size ceiling fan, and they go here just slap this in. It's huge, man. It's a shoebox. It's fucking gigantic.
Yeah,
I think they even said they're gonna be 3 slot cards, which mine already is. So that's not I'm not like a crazy thing there, but.
So this is their new Ampere architecture. They made like a big point of like showing like how they've done like all of
how
their
much better it
on
is
the chip
than what you just paid thousands of dollars for. Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah.
Great.
And the performance is apparently like in some benchmarks up to like 80 times like the performance of like some of the old stuff.
Some of the year-old stuff. Yeah.
Year-old stuff.
Yeah, some of the 1 year old stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I side with the people who like went with the full blown RTX cards. I went with a 60 because I always tend to do the low budget cards, but now they're pricing these things very competitively. I'll get that out of the way. I think it's $599 for the 870 or 8070 or 3070. Sorry,
it's $499 for the 70, $699 for the 80. And then like $1,400 for the 3090.
Yeah, something. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Which is if you bought a RTX 2080 Ti, you're already familiar with the 3090 price, which is apparently equivalent to what a 3070 is in this run up, which effectively makes your card worth $500 or less dollars, which is
I'll say I side with you, man. Like to buy something like that at the end of like a life cycle, thinking that like, oh man, like. I don't know. It is remarkable that they were able to make this much of a performance increase, but it also sucks that RTX was basically released into a beta state. Like,
Well, and it's not even that it was released into a beta state. It's that they charged an exorbitant amount of money for it. Like, again, we knew the price to performance wasn't great, but we had no idea how bad it was. Like, it's not, and again, the 2080 Ti is no slouch by any stretch. It's a great video card. But, again, when you look at the value prospect between that and this thing, you're like, well, thank you, NVIDIA. For fucking your people that really spent the money. Yeah. Assuming that they're willing to go spend that money a second time a year later, which is not, you know, I think I'm landing on the front of fuck it, and I'm going to buy an Index instead and just spend my money there and probably wait for the 4000 series or if I can find a really good deal, I may, you know, upgrade at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Siri? Is it interesting that I got fucked by NVIDIA? Thank you, dog.
Well, look at that thing, dude. Look at that's the 90 right there. Absolutely monstrous.
I mean, the thing that's in here already, I mean, it's a 2-slot card with a bracket for the the third and fourth slot. So I'm already looking at a 4-slotter right here, so I'll take it. It depends. Man. The thing is PCBs have to be made out of the black box in an airplane to hold that much fucking weight nowadays. Like, obviously the way it's screwed into the case is important, but man, that thing has got to be fucking made as something serious to be able to hold them as much weight as they're putting on these things nowadays.
That's what they actually showed in that video, was like that the PCB on it was like very strong, like it will hold up the car. Look at that. Yeah, man. I'm excited. I think the landscape of, like, you saw the consoles out there talking about ray tracing and they're like their small price points and like their cost of performance and all that. And then for NVIDIA and I know it sucks for you and I'm so sorry, but for the advancement of like computer graphics technology and price point, for them to kind of position it, because they know AMD is going to try to come out and do something to rival this card, but they've priced it so competitively.
Well, they're doing what Microsoft's doing right now with the PlayStation 5 and the Series S and X, which we'll get into in just a second. But yeah, I mean, they're pricing it in a way that's like, all right, AMD, this was always your market for this low end thing. Well, fuck you. Actually, NVIDIA is really kind of saying fuck you to everybody. It's like every company and person that has supported them. And yet, as long as you haven't bought a card since like the 10 series or below, you're in their best graces for whatever reason. If you supported them or any other company this last generation, you can go fuck yourself, is basically what they said.
They were like,
it's like, oh, you want a PlayStation or an Xbox? Go fuck yourself. Oh, you bought our RTX card, paving the way for these? Go fuck yourself. Thanks for helping, dog.
Yeah.
You destitute piece of shit. And I'm like, wow, thanks, man. It was only an entire year's worth of pay, but that's cool, man. No big deal.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I'm literally eating my pennies because I can't afford food.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Well, and it's really again, it's not even so much everything else. It's just that they've just nullified the resale value completely, and that's like the thing that's the most upsetting. Is it's like, it's one thing to price it so competitively. It's another to go, you're not getting shit back for that other one that you spent so much on. You dipshit. You should have waited instead of supporting us.
It would have been so cool of them to do some sort of buyback program on those things.
Dude, just anything to make it, to eat that cost a little bit, or a trade up or something. Like, dude, I would gladly pay $200 to send him this card and pay the other $200 to get a $700 card.
I do know some manufacturers, like I think EVGA, I think if you buy a card within a certain time frame and a newer gen comes out,
I think it's only a month though. It's like if you did it, I think it's only a month. I think if you bought it, like if somebody bought it at the beginning of this month, then they could do it because it's like, you know, coming out in a couple days. But if it's outside of that window, I think you don't get the option. I could be wrong. But as far as I was reading on Reddit from what people were saying, it seemed like it was only the month. Because that was the other thing, is everyone's like, fuck, I just bought a 20 series card. And it's like, yeah, well, what are you going to do? And it's like, I guess I was just like, just return it now. You have 30 days probably. So send it back before.
Just go watch television. Don't worry about a computer right now.
Yeah. Play your Switch. I'm sure you have one. So.
Well, I guess we'll roll right into this.
Yeah,
Xbox
this
Series
is probably
X, or Series
so
S rather.
The pricing leaked either by someone else or by virtue of Microsoft. It's kind of hard to tell. I've heard both sides of this. It does feel kind of like a Microsoft's play because we're really running down to the wire on the price for these things. And for them to make it look like an accident while then forcing Sony to sort of say what they're going to do now is kind of genius in some ways.
Yeah.
Because this thing here is priced at $299. It's really tiny comparatively. They say it'll do up to 1440p and they'll do 4K, but it'll do up to 120 hertz refresh, which is, from a technical side of things, if that's actually true, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Especially for the price of $299. It's not even it's not super crazy because phones do it now. You know, you can get phones with 120 hertz screens and all this other shit. But if it's running games at 120 hertz, they're saying variable refresh rate and some other stuff like that. So it's sort of like positioned in a way to where you don't even need a 4K TV. I mean, I always played consoles on a monitor anyway. And obviously some people do that, but now they positioned it to where you can actually utilize a good monitor if you wanted, which is great. I think the big two things here is like, one, it's an all digital console and it only has a 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD, which is great for speeds, terrible for how big games are now. And I have to imagine if it's an NVMe, that's not going to be cheap to put a new one in there. Which some people were speculating that that's maybe the price difference between this and the X, because they say the X will run things a little bit better, but it almost seems like the hardware is just like locked maybe a little bit on this one, and then they put in a bigger drive, because NVMe SSDs are still not cheap by any means.
Well, they're also, you know, positioning the xCloud stuff, and one thing I would love to see, and they have yet to confirm if this might be the case.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I forgot about that almost entirely.
Like, a feature I would love to see is, like, you purchase a game, and if you purchase that game, you can start the download, and while it's downloading in the background, if you so choose, you can play the xCloud version of it, so at least you're playing right away.
Yeah, I wonder about that, though, with latency and other shit. Like, is that just going to bog down both things, like the game performance and the download performance? And like,
well, it would probably throttle download a bit. But they got to come up with a neat idea, though. Because that's the biggest problem right now with current consoles is just not only storage, but the speed of access to the storage and network speeds. Like, those are the big three things I would say that are really a big struggle for consoles right now.
See, that's a curiosity too, though, because if it is an all digital console, right, and then you do the streaming thing, what is the point of it doing that kind of, like, having those specs the way they are? Like, who cares if it does 120 hertz if you're gonna be streaming the thing anyway? Like I'm just trying to think of, like, all the value prospects that come with it. Like, obviously some people are still just gonna buy all digital stuff. I mean, I primarily buy everything digital anyway, even on the Switch. You know, it's just I just don't care anymore. But I wonder, like, if it is the xCloud. I mean, I think, again, the overall thing is to push Game Pass more than anything, because there's also, I guess the other thing we'll note is, like, there is a financing option to this console that you can do. I think it's $25 a month, and it's the Series S with Game Pass Unlimited, which is already $15 a month. So an additional $10, you get the console. And I think it's for 24 months or something like that. And then the Series X, I believe, either has a $35 or $45 option a month. I think it's the 35, but same deal, Game Pass Ultimate and the box itself. Which, I mean, fuck, man, $25 a month for a console, and here you go. $34 a month, Xbox Series X console, and then Game Pass Ultimate for 2 years, and then that system is yours at that point. And you had Game Pass that whole time. Not bad. That's an incredible deal. Like, I mean, if you look at Netflix as okay, Hulu, right? If you do that, that's $14 a month. And, like, yeah, I mean, even if you watched a ton of it, most people who play video games play more games than they do spend time watching something. So I think as the money in to that, and again, at the end of, you know, your term or whatever, you still have your box. Like, if you finish your Hulu, you get nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like, Not to say that it's the best deal ever, but I mean, as far as like games go, that's pretty insane. Yeah, and even this one, 22, and then what is that? Upgraded an Xbox Series X in 18 months with the purchase of an Xbox. That's pretty nuts too, man. I mean, those are both. That's for the S. If you did that now, and then you get to do that at an 18-month point. Fuck, that's pretty crazy too. Yeah, but I mean,
they're making it pretty.
They want you to be on Game Pass, but that's where the argument comes in. Is like, what the fuck does Sony respond to this with? Like, here's our console. It's going to be more expensive, both versions probably. And you probably still have to pay to get online for our online service. And you don't get, you get 2 free games still every like month that are like arguably not great most of the time. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But generally speaking, they're usually pretty old titles and whatever. Whereas this is like, here's new games every week, it feels like.
And also now they're like EA's joining Game Pass, which is like the other little story I'll throw on this while we're talking Game Pass.
Is it like a new charge? I hadn't seen this, so I don't know what this is.
It's bundled with Xbox Game Pass. You get EA Play.
Oh, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate though.
Oh, okay. Well,
and a Game Pass for PC. Oh, okay. So even if you just have the PC version.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's the way that says to. Dude, that's great, man. Because I would never pay for EA's thing by itself. It's not a great setup. But if you roll it into this, then why are they showing Skate like they got a Skate game ready for me to play?
They're getting your hopes up, dude.
Don't fuck around. Come on, dudes.
So, yeah.
That's really neat.
Ball's in Sony's court. You know, it's while we're recording this, it's a Wednesday night. There's like heavy indication that they may be doing something either tomorrow, which would be Thursday the 11th, Thursday
that's the 10th,
or Friday 9/11. Never forget. So who knows?
I also heard the 15th because I think Oculus is also gearing up for an announcement here very soon. I think they're announcing their Quest 2, but I think they gave it a different name, like the Reyes or something like that. But they're gearing up to make an announcement too. A lot of companies are about to ask for a lot of money here pretty soon. It seems like is what it seems like is happening. Between VR coming around. I mean, that's the interesting thing too. Is like none of these have really mentioned VR whatsoever. That's another kind of interesting thing. It's really all turned to ray tracing, which. Like, I think ray tracing looks good by all means, but I think lighting in games already looks pretty fucking good. Like, I think the engines they've built and stuff already look pretty great. So, I'm more interested in DLSS. That's, I think, the thing that's, like, more interesting to me.
Yeah. A lot of the advances in ray tracing cut down man hours on environment art, though, which is good.
Cool. That's good. Yeah.
It will provide like a better alternative for like, because right now the way you do lighting in games is it's all pretty static. You can do a lot of dynamic lighting, but yeah, for environment artists and like people doing lighting in games, it takes a lot of time and like very meticulous effort to make that stuff work. Digital Foundry, channel we talk about a lot, but they did a really good kind of write up about. They did like a huge video about like Last of Us 2, and they talk a little bit about that. About some of the lighting techniques that they use and like why they may have done that. So yeah, ray tracing's cool. I would love to see ray tracing work in VR. I don't think we've seen that just yet.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, but think of what you'd have to make that happen. Well, I don't know. I guess I don't really know because I'm trying. I will hopefully soon be able to talk about VR in some capacity because it's still something I haven't seen. I haven't seen perform on my system where I have a pretty good base value of how games run on it in general. So I'd be curious as to how VR works on here. I'm almost hoping that Oculus comes out with some banger announcement that's like, hey, here's a $500 headset that has knuckle style controllers. And, it undercuts the index because as much as I want the index, I don't really want to spend $1,000 on it. Because that's kind of crazy. But it is, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm going to buy one at all, I really want the full experience. I don't want to half-ass it. Because I almost went out and bought a Rift like 2 days ago. I was like, Micro Center had like 10 Rift S's. I was like, well, I could go do this. But I think I really, if I'm going to do it, especially now, I think if I'm going to do it, it needs to be that. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm also interested too, because I would like to, because I've noticed coverage on VR stuff is not as intimate. Like even some of the highest rated games on Steam on VR, they only have like 200 to 300 reviews really. So it's like, it is still a pretty niche market, it looks like. And maybe, and probably that's why I guess ray tracing is the important thing that they're focusing on now more so than anything else. Granted though, I will say, I guess because what I heard is that with the Oculus stuff is they're producing 2 million units for this new Quest, which is, and I think they're trying to price it around $200, which is half of what the S is now, and that's 1 million more units than they sold in total of the first one. So it seems like now with Facebook, they're really gearing up to go, hey, let's get some decent priced headsets in people's hands that maybe don't care too much, because the Quest is also standalone. It's not you don't need a computer for it, so that's the other big thing. And especially with that Medal of Honor coming to Oculus only, I think here pretty soon, it's interesting to see all this stuff kind of coming together, because it seems like we're getting a push on all fronts now, I guess, for ray tracing, for more powerful hardware, for VR, for like a lot of I guess by virtue of people being stuck inside, they're like, all right, let's start pushing out the entertainment to the home in a grander scale. And maybe it just worked out that way, like all this stuff was already ready, and they're like, well, it just so happens that it's time to send it out anyway. So
yeah,
so we'll see.
I brought it up last week, but I did upgrade my PC, and that's partly why we did not have an episode last week, because I was dealing with some unforeseen issues. But I'll just say this. So I got like a decent bonus from work, because I'm a good boy doing good work. But I woke up that day, I got the deposit, and I was like, okay, I'm so close to getting a VR headset. I'm so close to doing it. And then I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? My computer's like, I would say, like, if I were to grade it, it's probably like a mid-grade PC right now. I kind of want to, instead of like dropping like $1,000 on VR, I kind of want to like position myself like future-proof in a way.
Yeah.
Like I want to be prepared. Like the biggest game I want to be prepared for is Cyberpunk, of course. Like
sure, yeah.
I'm just very pumped for that game. So I want to, not only that game, but anything coming out in the future, I want to be able to say, like, yeah, my computer can probably handle this. I don't want there to be any shadow of a doubt.
It's a good feeling, I'll tell you, like, to just be able to go, yeah, I can play anything. Like, there is, at least I've had a year of, and probably next year too, I can't imagine there's going to be anything that's, like, so demanding that I can't, again, especially with everyone pushing towards 4K, and I still prefer the 2K sweet spot or the 1440p. I think I'm still probably easily set for next year or the year after. But yeah, that peace of mind of going, anything, bring it, anything that can happen, I'm ready for you. I will say that feeling, I don't think is worth $1,400 right now as for one piece of that hardware. But yeah, as a whole, I think, it's like, it's a nice feeling to know that you're prepared.
Yeah, so that was kind of my priority there. I do want to get VR eventually, but I think once, like you said, if they really are positioning like cheaper headsets with like decent, performance and like the fidelity is there, then sure, yeah, I'll get. I mean, even like a decently priced one
at $200.
That's
if it's got those controllers and you can because you can use the USB-C link and just use it as basically the same thing, like a regular PC headset. It's kind of a hard proposition to pass on. Like even though I want the index for the controllers. Like I want that all hands on deck mobility. Though granted, Oculus has been working on controllerless finger reads, and that's been their big thing that they're trying out as well. That seems to be at a pretty good point anyway. But yeah, if you're gonna put that at $200, then that's a hard thing to go, yeah, you know what, because That's not even. I mean, look, that's a Switch Lite, which is not a big investment by any means. $200 is also like pretty decent to fuck around in VR for a few hours a week or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of what I'm. That's what kind of why I'm glad it's like 8 months out, because I'm like, or 8 weeks out. I'm like, I got time for them to say some shit before I'm finally like, yeah, here's this. Because that's a lot. But
so yeah, I think that's about what we got.
Yeah,
this time.
Yeah, that's again, we got a pretty long run time, but you missed last week, so we gave you a little bonus 50 minutes of
That's right.
info for
We've never taken 2 breaks
week.
before.
Yeah, we feel bad about that, really, but we had to get you the hot news that you've already gotten, and at least here, we at least get to talk about it. So.
But listen, I'm so happy because I had so much stress going into today that we would do this, and like so I'll say this, like the performance issues that I had, I would like notice in event logs on my computer that okay, there's a disk that's trying to do this encryption check that flags like this error, and like seconds later computer just does a hard power reset, and I was like, there's no fucking way a disk does this. But I was like, you know what, back everything up off that disk, throw it all on my NAS, replace the or just take that drive out completely, no crashes at all.
Yeah.
And so
I even said too, I was like, maybe it's a hard drive thing, and I was like, I don't really think that would do this. Like I was like, that seems really weird, I don't know, but maybe it would. Because it's the only other thing is because like every other thing outside of the overheat would be like, it would either not turn on or you would notice way before that something was happening. Like RAM, usually your computer's not going to turn on if it's not seated. Your CPU is going to fuck around if it's not in there right, and if it overheats, you'll know because it'll just shut right off.
And that was the thing. So I bought a cooler on Friday last week. I bought the H100i Pro XT, whatever, from Corsair. It's like their
you could add 5 more numbers to it if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, 1400 HP Lovecraft, whatever. But I bought that thing, and then I was like, oh fuck, and I ran Cinebench like 4 times in a row. My temps never got above like 59 or 60. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm rocking and rolling. And then crash like that night, and I was so fucking mad. And that's when I started looking at the drive, and I was like, okay, I gotta rip this motherfucker out. So I recorded like upwards of like 5 to 10 hours of footage from like then to now. So happy it's working now. I'm so fucking happy it's working now.
Well, and you got 10 hours of house footage of just air in your house. I mean, that you could do anything with that you wanted.
That's a good point. Like, I think I will start making some videos on my channel. I guess while we're closing this out, you can follow me at YouTube on at The Deadly Robot, also on Twitch at The Deadly Robot. But I do kind of want to start getting into some more of the content creation stuff. What's hard for me is that just like, with my actual job that I'm doing, I consider that the side gig.
Right. This is the real professional stuff here.
This is the professional stuff, yeah. Whenever I'm doing that,
you got that bonus from Daddy. That's where it came from. I slid a little bit in the old bank account.
Yeah, throw me a
for being such a good boy. Yeah.
Thank you. I promise no crashes. But it's just hard for me to kind of like keep up with a singular game and like make content around it. But I think like maybe I do some of these like catch up videos, or I just like compile everything together and just throw some stupid goofy shit out there, because I have plenty of that. I got like hours of us playing Divinity, and there's plenty of that stupid shit.
I've got several I need to edit. Yeah, that's something to look forward to, guys, too, because I've got a good chunk of Divinity to put together, because we've been having some fun goofing off in that game. So hopefully I'll have that at some point. It's like 8 hours of footage at least to go through. So it'll maybe be a bit, but there is something coming down the pipeline there. And then I should, some point, if not before this video, at some point I'll have a review up of Hot Shots Racing, which should come out tomorrow. I think it's called something like that. So yeah, Hot Shot Racing. That seems fun. That's probably the next review. And then Gordian Quest is also on the way, because I have that and I just haven't put it up for some reason. And then Star Renegades, I think, is another one that's in the works. So
hell
get
yeah,
ready
brother.
for those, But yeah, Christian, thanks again, bud, and
Always.
Peace, my dudes.